we're introduced to a character named Jin Woo. He's an E-rank hunter, basically the weakest amongst all the hunters. The reason why he became a hunter in the first place is to pay his mother's medical bill since he has no talents for other jobs. This has caused people to gossip about him, but there's one person in particular that cares for him. That is Miss Joo-hee. She's worried that his face got injured again, but he just shrugs it off. He says that he's the only one who got hurt in an E-rank dungeon, and they don't even bring a healer because the monsters are too weak. But unfortunately, it's the complete opposite for Jin Woo. With Mr. Song leading the party, they went inside the dungeon. Outside the portal, two people are chatting about how Jin Woo always gets injured in every expedition, but they don't think they need to worry since it's only a D-rank dungeon. Inside the dungeon, Jin Woo is already hurt, to which Miss Joo-hee tends to his wounds. However, looks like there's no reason to worry as the raid is almost complete. She asks him why does he still want to be a hunter when he can die easily. He laughs it off and says he's just doing it for fun, since he's embarrassed to tell her the actual reason. After all that, he only got an E-rank magical core. However, somebody later discovered another entrance. Mr. Song stated that in order to close the gate, they need to defeat the boss of this dungeon. Usually, they need to first contact their guild and await for orders, but he expresses his greed, knowing that other people will get the loot instead. Upon voting, the decision rests on Jin Woo. After considering his family, he wants to continue. When walking to the boss lair, he asks her if she's angry by his decision, to which she doesn't hold back in saying her thoughts. He apologizes to her, but she's willing to forgive him if he treats her to food later. Soon, they arrive. They find it weird since this door is never seen before. However, Mr. Song insists on going despite not knowing what to expect. Immediately, the whole room lit up. There are many statues surrounding them. Eventually, they discover some sort of seal. Later, they also identified a text inscribed into the stone. First, worship the Lord. Second, praise the Lord. And third, prove your faith. Those who don't follow the commandments will never return alive. Suddenly, the large door closes. A guy tried to escape but got instantly decapitated by a statue. As Jin Woo turns his head back, its eyes started to move. He screamed them to duck. He grabs Miss Joo-hee and they narrowly avoided death. Unfortunately, some of them didn't get so lucky. Mr. Song asks him what rank does he think this dungeon is. But he can't give an answer since he's only been to a D-rank dungeon. Mr. Song thinks that this dungeon might actually be an S rank. They soon found out that when the scriptures mentioned about a lord, they knew it referred to that thing. When someone tried to run away, he instantly got vaporized, leaving his foot left. This crushed their will, as no matter what they do, it seems like their fate has been decided. Jin Woo thought to himself, if they're that strong, why do they remain still? Finally, it clicked. All this time, they have been attacking in a pattern, since they obey the rules inside the room. When testing his theory, it only shoots laser if you go past a certain height. He told the party to bow down, as it won't attack if they do so. As soon as they all went on their knees, the face of the statue starts to change. What am I witnessing with my own eyes? This caused a cold sweat to go down their spine. The whole room started to shake violently. He stood up. He knows the next step is to praise him. But how do they actually do that? Somebody attempted to do so since he attended a church choir before. But he got crushed instantly. Jin Woo realized that he's praising the wrong god. This caused the entire party to panic and run for their lives. One by one, they perish. Mr. Song told them to split up while he grabs Miss Joo-hee. Their lives are flashing before their eyes. He realizes that they can't even get close to the door as numerous statues are guarding it. But he notices that the statues that carry instruments don't seem to attack, which he told them to run towards. The statues started playing music. Luckily, they're safe. But the statue that he went to didn't play music. Two people can't be under one statue. Not wanting to endanger her, he immediately ran to the next statue. But that's when he sees a large foot from up above. He narrowly avoids that, but he went the wrong way. It's not an instrument, but a shield. Joo-hee broke down in tears. Somehow, he survived. Luckily, the statue in front of him started singing, but that's not without rendering him unable to move. She heals him, but her own condition is not the best to say the least. Mr. Song finally understands the gravity of the situation, but before they can recover, the ground started to shake once again. A stone tablet emerged from the ground. It's actually an altar that is used to sacrifice living beings for the Lord. For the last trial, they need to prove their faith. They all look at Mr. Song as he's responsible for all the deaths. Sang Jin Woo thinks that it's not his fault as all of them voted to come here. Remaining silent, he walked to the altar. Soon, he thinks that something is off. Sang Jin Woo went to the altar as well, asking if the other hunters will save them, but unfortunately, they won't as it's only a D-rank dungeon. Sang Jin Woo knows that if they don't complete the dungeon, the gate will open and that monster can come to their world. Without delay, they all went to the altar as that's the way to start the final trial. Suddenly, the door opened. Surprised by this turn of events, can they finally leave? But that's when all the statues started moving towards them. They don't know what to do. Sang Jin Woo slowly realized that if you don't look at them, they will start moving. The woman can't handle it anymore and makes a run for it. Unlike before, she made it out alive? He figured out that it must be a trap since the last trial is testing their fate. Seeing her escape tempts the other guy to do as well. Sang Jin Woo says to not leave as they won't have enough people to keep them in check. He explains they will survive when the blue flames disappear, acting as a timer. However, another guy couldn't take it as he wants to see his family. Their impending doom gets closer. Mr. Song wants both of them to leave while he stays there as they both have a long life to live. He asks her to help Sang Jin Woo, but she's unable to feel her legs due to mana exhaustion. In the end, he told Mr. Song to take care of her since he promised to buy food after this. He accepted his fate, but not without putting up a fight despite his condition. Instantly, the statue swings its weapon, causing him to be in the brink of death. With his body on the altar, he doesn't want to die. If only he has one more chance at life. If the sword came flying down, time appears to stop. A notification pops out. Still grasping onto life, he accepts to be a player. Suddenly, he woke up in a bed, gasping for air. Was it a dream? Then, he sees a man in a suit approaching him. They explain that his party is miraculously alive, but seeing their condition, it looks like they won't be hunters after this. As they enter the room, he's the only one to be seen, which they came to the conclusion that Sang Jin Woo had a double awakening. After using a mana detector, it appears they suspected him for no reason. After all, trash will always be trash. After they left, he's puzzled as to why they can see the floating screen. Soon, his sister came to see him, saying that she'll quit studying if he gets hurt one more time. As soon as she left, he noticed that there's a daily quest, to which he ignores, since he's still reviving, hence, resulting in an earthquake. The entire room shattered into pieces, revealing that he's in a desert. Suddenly, a giant sand centipede comes bursting from the ground. The current objective is to survive. Sang Jin Woo ran as he could not believe the situation he's in. There's multiple of them after his life. Fortunately, he survived the punishment and came back to his bedroom. As the nurse went in, she sees him lying on the floor. Ever since that day, Sang Jin Woo does not neglect his daily quest since it's very much real. He finds out that as he completes the challenges, he gets random items while getting stronger. Out of all the gifts that he got, the key seems to be an outlier. He uses it and suddenly a portal opens up. Without much thinking, he went into the instant dungeon. It seems that he's the only one who can see and is affected by the weird phenomenon. He can't escape. The only way is to defeat the boss and clear the dungeon. A beast monster pounces onto him. He narrowly avoids its claws. This is a huge leap in difficulty, as before this, he already finds it hard to defeat mere goblins. His life is on the ropes. However, his body feels oddly light and he manages to counterattack, but his attacks aren't working. Slowly, he's being pushed back as the wolf is still physically stronger. But that's when he realized he has an inventory. He whipped out the weapon and successfully killed the beast. But that's when two more appeared. Swinging his sword again, he defeated one with more confidence as they're nothing compared to the statues back then. He learns that as long as he keeps leveling up, he can become stronger. There's even a shop system where he can sell and buy items. However, it looks like those aren't the only wolves. Not wanting to be a loser again and be a liability to his loved ones, he doesn't fear anymore. He hacked away at every wolf, leveling up a lot in the process. In the end, he got the title of Wolf Slayer. Upon looking in his inventory, he obtained a Heartstone which lets him retreat from the dungeon. Despite that, he wants to continue further since he'll miss on getting stronger. Along his journey, he defeated various monsters and quickly figured out that the monsters has an attack pattern just like a game. Not before long, he arrived to the boss lair that leads him further underground. When he stepped foot on the ground, he instantly got attacked by the boss. It's a giant snake. Unfortunately, his sword got broken. Analyzing the situation, he knows that his attacks can penetrate its tough scales. He overestimated himself since he thought that he finally got stronger. This situation reminded him of all the times he's been looked down upon. Frustrated with himself, he have to become even stronger. Compared to the statues he faced before, he will not cower in fear. Using all his points on strength, he uses wits to crush the monster to death with his bare hands, while simultaneously tanking everything. Sang Jin Woo has defeated the boss. As a reward, he got a new weapon and the interior walls around him reverted teleported back to his world. Coming back to the overworld, he meets a soldier. He guided Sang Jin Woo to safety as he told him about the current situation, saying that one monster is left. Somehow, he can feel it. Many hunters are desperately trying to take it down. Miss Juhee is seen to struggle after the horrifying incident. Knowing that the boss is weaker compared in a dungeon, he throws a sword which dissolves the monster in an instant. The leader is confused as the projectile came from nowhere. Sang Jin Woo makes his escape, but Miss Juhee noticed him. Back in the hospital, Sang Jin Woo is doing his daily task. This caught the eye of the nurse, which she embarrassingly asked for his number. After getting discharged, he told his sister to take an umbrella, but she overlooks it as he became taller. He realized that his body is changing according to his stats. He got a phone call from his landlord telling to pay rent. Should he reveal his strength so that he can make money through a guild? Maybe not, for his safety. In the end, he decided to join a party to clear a C-rank dungeon. It's a good deal since he only has to carry their stuff. Even though he gets scoffed at being the weakest hunter, the leader doesn't mind since they only need to meet the number requirement for a party. Sang Jin Woo is annoyed as one privileged low-rank hunter keeps talking to him. The gate seems larger than usual for a C-rank dungeon, but they went in anyways. Upon entering the dungeon, it's dark and no monsters are seen. Analyzing the situation, Sang Jin Woo deduced that they're in an insect nest. Suddenly, a pack of monsters came raining from above. The entire party is in a mess. After a while, they managed to recover from their predicament. From inspection, they quickly realized that there's stronger monsters in the dungeon, which equates to more money. Sang Jin Woo noticed the change in their demeanor and told Jinho to be careful. Then they continued walking without encountering any monsters. But that's when they saw a huge spider's den. It's the boss room. Their eyes lit up as mana crystals filled the perimeter. However, a sound echoed throughout the cave, but it seems to be asleep. Hence, the leader asked Sang Jin Woo to stay while they get their mining equipment to transport the crystals. Sang Jin Woo starts to get suspicious, and his suspicion came true when the leader trapped them inside the boss room, which awakened the boss. He told Jinho to back off as he's trying to kill the boss. Jinho stares him in shock as that's supposed to be an E-rank hunter. As the spider jabs its legs, Sang Jin Woo evaded every attack while deflecting it. He realized that its skin is thick and it has no blind spots. All the while, Jinho could not believe what he's witnessing. Could he be a false rank hunter who kills people for fun? He regrets becoming a hunter. Sang Jin Woo figures out that the only way to win is by using his new weapon, the dagger. The boss vomits out acid. Knowing that he has to kill it now, he uses a sprint skill that instantly closes the gap between them. Despite his onslaught of attacks, his fatigue is catching up. The spider beat him to the ground. Remembering back, he got status recovery as a reward. Instantly, he got back on his feet, thus jabbing its eyes repeatedly in quick succession. The boss has been slain. After the battle ended, Jinho treated him differently. Suddenly, an explosion shook the cave. The leader has arrived. They're in shock as the boss has been somehow defeated. From deducing the situation, they actually thought that Jinho is the one who killed it. A screen suddenly pops out, an emergency quest to kill all the enemies. Sang Jin Woo got blasted with magic. His ideology of a hunter begins to sway. The survival of the fittest is an absolute law. One of them grabbed his shoulder as a way to provoke him, but that's when his head got sliced off. What just happened? His entire life flashes back before his eyes. He's fed up being treated like shit for his entire life. As soon as the person casted fire magic, his entire body got sliced into pieces. Many more then came at once, but their efforts are futile. The leader figured that the only option is to go all out, but it's useless. He begged Sang Jin Woo to spare his life. Unfortunately, he got decapitated. In the next scene, somewhere in the USA, a person is seen waking up. Coming back to Korea, in a building, two people are discussing the bizarre incident that occurred in a C-rank dungeon. He confidently said that the device used to measure Sang Jin Woo's power is of the highest quality, so it couldn't possibly be wrong. However, that's not the main issue. The person that Sang Jin Woo killed is actually the older brother of Hwang Dong-soo. Now, he can't ignore the problem. Back at his home, he's talking with his sister. He also discovered that he became immune to various debuffs such as poison. Soon, his sister told him that Jinho is calling for him. Basically, he wants Sang Jin Woo to be a bodyguard for him when participating in raids so that he has the requirements to build a guild. Unsurprisingly, he can't be asked anymore. But Jinho made an enticing offer. On the next day, he went jogging with his sister. He asked her a question. So let's say they suddenly got 3 billion won. 3 billion what? And off he goes. Outside Korea, Hwang Dong-soo wants to kill Sang Jin Woo for killing his brother. It turns out that he's an S-rank hunter. He thinks that Sang Jin Woo planned a trap to kill him. With that, he cleared his schedule for assassination. Back in Korea, Sang Jin Woo discovered that he got an S-class item. He thought to himself that if the key is proportional to its dungeon, then he has no chance of winning. The moment he enters, the gatekeeper of hell stands before him. He recalls back that even a group of S-class hunters can't clear an S-rank dungeon in Jeju Island. But that only means he needs to get even stronger than before. Sang Jin Woo performed precise slashes to the monster. Numerous skills that he obtained activated, but it remains perfectly fine. The monster charges at him, dealing a devastating injury. Sang Jin Woo is going to die. He noticed that the game system is doing all it can to save his life. He realizes this and takes advantage of it. In an instant, Sang Jin Woo twists the head of the monster and aimed for the eyes. He defeated the monster. He knows that he's not strong enough to enter the gate yet. In the night, a middle-aged man is seen to offer a hefty sum of cash to assassinate some hunters. The man in the suit belongs to the Hunter's Guild. He smiles as he takes his offer. On a new day, two people are training in a dojo. The master of the dojo is surprised as an S-rank hunter wants to be taught by a low rank as himself. But she clarifies that she still lacks skill. When walking down the street, he bumps into Sang Jin Woo. He's shocked about how much he has changed in such a short time. Sang Jin Woo hides the fact that he can regenerate his limbs. Mr. Song is glad that he miraculously survived. He asks if he also is going due to orders from the guild. Soon, they reunite with the survivors of the party. Juhi's eyes lit up as she sees a new Sang Jin Woo. The situation quickly became awkward as one of them betrayed the party. But this didn't stop her from feeling concerned about Sang Jin Woo. The atmosphere quickly becomes dull as they got heckled by a van full of convicts. And they got told to shut up. They got informed that they will be raiding a dungeon together with the prisoners. She assured them that they'll be safe since they're being monitored by a B-rank hunter. Sang Jin Woo feels off about this and told Juhi to drop from this raid, but she persists on going. The supervisor lets Mr. Song to become the leader. He apologizes to Sang Jin Woo for his behavior that caused the deaths of many people. The prisoners hold their ground as well as the others. It looks like everyone has improved since the incident, especially Sang Jin Woo. Juhi doesn't need to heal him like before. Mr. Song realizes that Sang Jin Woo is like a different person, but unfortunately, Juhi is still the same. As the dungeon splits into three, the supervisor suggests to split up for efficiency. Sang Jin Woo told Mr. Song to take the left path as he has a bad feeling. He will soon regret that decision. The other two are thinking that they should apologize to Sang Jin Woo about the incident. But that's when something happened. They saw the supervisor killing all the prisoners. Screams echoed throughout the dungeon. Sang Jin Woo knew something bad is bound to happen. As they run towards the other entrance, he quickly stopped his attack in the nick of time. He's surprised that Sang Jin Woo actually managed to block his ambush. Seeing that he underestimated them, he has to kill them all. Sang Jin Woo's eyes contracts as he sees the state of Mr. Kim. However, it's too late. His final words are, "Sang Jin Woo, I'm sorry." Mr. Song told Juhi to buff him. He will get revenge. Their weapons clash at high speed. He avoided his attack just in time and got sliced in return. The supervisor realizes that Juhi is going to be a nuisance. As he changes his target, Mr. Song intercepts him. Looks like this is gonna be harder than he initially thought. Getting serious, he sliced him in multiple spots. A surge of magical energy engulfs the ground. Did he manage to defeat him? Sang Jin Woo parried his attack. In that moment, he asked his true identity. Sang Jin Woo said that he's an E-rank, but that couldn't possibly be true. There's only one conclusion. He's been reawakened. Sang Jin Woo confronted him about the killing. He claims that he's not doing this for fun. He's doing it to get revenge for a father who lost his daughter due to the prisoners. However, Sang Jin Woo don't believe his words as his face is painted with killing intent. Their weapons clashed once again. He said it's a pity that he will die with his victims, which caused him to be taken aback. He has finally gone insane. Only specks of light can be seen from their collision. They're evenly matched. Juhi continues to support Sang Jin Woo. He threw a dagger at Juhi, but got stopped by Mr. Song. This made Sang Jin Woo let his guard down. Suddenly, a notification pops out. Now, he has to kill him or he'll die. Sounds of metal hitting each other echoed throughout the cave. Sang Jin Woo activated his skill and becomes faster. He got cut by the dagger, but looks like Sang Jin Woo wasn't the only one hiding his skills. He suddenly disappeared. Sang Jin Woo got sliced, but by using the system's perks, he healed in an instant. A blue flame lit inside of Sang Jin Woo. One of his emotions died. In an instant, he went on the offensive. He quickly followed up by numerous attacks, but it got nullified. Sang Jin Woo obtained a new skill. The supervisor is plunged into darkness. This is the true power of the player Sang Jin Woo. He lost the fight. Before passing, he asked about his identity. Sang Jin Woo told him he's a hunter that grows strong from each fight. As he pulls out his dagger, he finds out that he can obtain his skill. When the guild employees arrived to the situation after hearing the report, he asked who killed their supervisor. Mr. Song claimed that it was him. But it's peculiar, since there's no way a C-rank can beat a B-rank hunter. But that's only the possible conclusion. When night falls, Juhi and Sang Jin Woo went for a walk. She expresses her affection towards him. He always gave it his all despite being weak, unlike her. So, she's retiring. He'll invite her if they meet again. On the next day, he's a bit disappointed that this is their party which Jinho established. Jin Woo asks what is a kid doing here, but she angrily says that she's a proper hunter. Jinho told them to just stay outside while him and Jin Woo clears the dungeon. After their awkward preparation, they head for the dungeon. This made the others doubt their abilities. However, soon they get close, which means they completed the raid. All of them are in shock. In the White Tiger Guild, the members found out that one team has brought the right to clear every C-rank gate. He ordered everyone to stop everything they're doing and find out about Jinho and Jin Woo. From his research, Jin Woo survived all past incidents and is reawakened. The chief wants to scout them. Back in the dungeon, Jin Woo slaughtered all the monsters. Suddenly, a notification pops out. A job change quest. Soon, the chief has arrived. What is happening here? As they both came out from the dungeon, they were greeted by the chief. In short, he wants to recruit Jin Woo. But reality soon crashed down as he found out that Jin Woo already got offered 30 billion won from another company. Based on his reaction, looks like their business is done. But one question remains. How do they find out about him? After getting threatened, the chief vows to not let information slip. In the vast mountains, Jin Woo decides to accept his job change quest. Fire lit the hallway, and strong vibrations can be felt. Jin Woo realizes that although it's not strong, his armor is too thick for his dagger to penetrate. After his previous encounters, he analyzed the situation and decapitated the knight. Unlike instant dungeons, he cannot leave this dungeon until he completes it. He needs to conserve his mana till the boss, but the remaining knights won't let him rest. He punched one of them, jabbed the other with his knee, and decapitated another with his grip strength. Luckily, they dropped Greer to improve his stats. He noticed bloodlust. It turns out the monsters have skills as well. The variations of monsters has also increased. After another tough fight, he finally arrived to the boss room. It's very spacious, but the seat is empty. Suddenly, a chill runs down his spine. A knight in bloody armor has appeared. In an instant, the knight leaps towards Jin Woo, ducking just in time before feeling the intense pressure coming from just one swing. His dagger won't penetrate. Here it comes again. A flash of light can be seen. It immediately pierces the air, missing by a hair's breadth. Analyzing the situation, raw strength might be the solution. But suddenly, the knight also placed down his weapon. This enemy has chivalry? Unfortunately, he got even faster. Jin Woo flew towards the wall. It's not done yet. This is an impossible fight. Without giving up, he utilizes his sprint skill to hopefully get an edge. But it's still useless. As he's about to get the final blow, Jin Woo stopped the blade in the nick of time. Desperate for survival, he jabs his dagger directly into its eye. Using this chance, he dealt a lethal blow. He has slain Commander Igris. Somehow he managed to win by just pure luck. The atmosphere quickly lightens as he got an S-rank item and money. Strangely, he got a runestone and a heartstone, which indicates that the quest isn't complete yet. Suddenly, multiple portals begin to form. Now, the job change quest will begin. The quality of his job will depend on how long he will last. Jin Woo is immediately surrounded by knights. Knowing that he only needs to stall for time, he used stealth, but it's not long till he got discovered. Looks like he has to survive the hard way. Jin Woo clashes on life as numerous knights begin to attack him. He knows that there's no way he can survive, since it's only been 5 minutes. Suddenly, he got hit by a warhammer. Knights begin crumbling down as Jin Woo regain his footing. There's no way he will let this chance go. As he's losing health, his life flashes before his eyes, making him see a fragment of who he is. Looks like this is the end for Jin Woo. Wait. He's in a desert now? He didn't complete his daily quest. Looks like luck is still on his side. He's never been more happy to see the centipedes again. Back at home, his sister wakes up in the night. She's surprised that he's not back yet. She told him that there's a parent-teacher meeting, so he'll come, right? Back in the desert, he continuously levels up as he demolishes all the centipedes. Fortunately, he can heal in a penalty zone. Knowing that he's about to enter the dungeon again, he purchased a new weapon that's perfect against the knights. When he breaks the runestone, he gained the ability to move objects, but with limitations. When he came back to the dungeon, it seems like their number grew tremendously. Jin Woo can finally slice them into pieces with his new dagger. He realizes that the summoners are responsible for the numbers. He hunts down all the magicians one by one. He slowly but surely reduced their numbers while simultaneously getting stronger himself. 3 more magicians are left. Suddenly, a golem emerges from the ground. The room begins to shake violently. While the magicians are occupied, he took this chance to kill them. A notification then pops out. All the monsters have been slain. Based on his performance, he's now a necromancer. This doesn't make sense, since it doesn't suit his fighting style from his allocated stats. However, this might be a blessing in disguise, since he can have an army that also grows stronger with him. When he accepted a job change, his achievement far exceeds the limit, which promotes him into a Shadow Lord. word. With one word, a legion of shadow monsters is being resurrected from the dead. He thought to himself, doesn't this mean he can extract Commander Igris as well? He calls upon Igris, but it failed. He tried again, but still failed. He got frustrated and persuades Igris to serve under him since his king is dead. In a flash, the atmosphere is engulfed in darkness. He has successfully resurrected Commander Igris. All of them bow down to Jin Woo. As morning came, he's awoken to a phone call. He has forgotten about the school meeting. In the school, his sister questions if this is really his brother. He explained that this is necessary for a formal meeting. His looks attracted the students. Jin Woo quickly became popular. She sarcastically asked if she could introduce a cute student to be his girlfriend, which she doesn't take pleasantly. In the office, her teacher told her that she's a good student, but asked if the thought of making her to be a hunter crossed his mind, which she directly rejects even the idea of it. The reason she brought it up is because she wants him to convince her friend to stop being a hunter. Soon, they met again. She insists on being a hunter. Jin Woo explains that being a hunter is generally a terrible idea, but he assures her that he's not gonna convince her to quit. Instead, he wants to make her a great hunter. In the airport, we see a familiar face arriving in Korea. Jin Chul greeted him upon his arrival, but the atmosphere soon became dull as he knows he's trying to stop him from committing murder. Back to Jin Woo, they arrive to the gate of the dungeon with the help of the White Tiger Guild. With the others also prepared, they head inside the dungeon. Suddenly, the gate turned blood red. As Jin Woo screams to call the attack force, it's too late. Informing the master of the guild, he decides to see for himself, knowing it's a red gate. They all begin to panic as the gate disappeared and it doesn't seem like a dungeon. She asks if there is something wrong. Suddenly, an arrow went straight at her. It's ice elves. Outside the gate, the guild master is worried about the potential threat of the gate. The chief explains that there were outsiders who went inside as well. Upon asking, he told that there's a hunter that piqued his interest, which made him really curious about his rank. However, he's only an E rank. In the dungeon, groups are split among the strong and weak. Since their leader told about the cruel reality of being in a red gate, the weak will only hinder their progress. One woman decides to take Jin Woo's side since she knows that he's not an E rank. Outside the dungeon, more people have arrived. The guildmaster is shocked to see Hwang Dong-soo in Korea. As they both took their own path, she wants an answer from Jin Woo. She thought to herself that maybe this man is an S rank in disguise. An ice bear approached the party. The A rank hunter stood his ground and executed the bear. They were glad that their captain is capable, but he orders them to continue moving forward while not letting their guard down. On the other hand, the woman urged Jin Woo to not proceed further as they're heading towards the ice bear territory. But he explains that's the safest route since no stronger predators will be present. Worrying about their condition, he grabs clothing from the air, which shocks her that he can use spatial magic. His unique ability made them question about his identity. He explains that he's just doing what's necessary since he's the one that brought her here. Not long, an ice bear appears. As the woman panics, Jin Woo punches it to the ground with his bare hand. They could not believe with their own eyes. Then, they enjoyed their meal. Jin Woo told stories about his sister to her friend as they're eating. After his meal, he decides to go hunting. He can finally utilize his job skill. All of the shadow warriors attack the ice bears, even casting spells towards them. The leader of the pack finally showed up and killed his army in one shot. Jin Woo calls upon Igris, engulfing its body in darkness and slicing the bear at numerous spots. The battle ended. Igris presents the head to his master. He then turns the bear into a shadow warrior as well. Outside the gate, Hwang Dong-soo loses his patience after finding out that the White Tiger Guild has allowed Jin Woo to enter their dungeon. This irritated the guildmaster. If this continues, a battle of S ranks could lead to the country's demise. Back in the dungeon, Kim Chul has failed as a leader. Screams surround the place as more corpses begin to pile on. He ran away as more enemies began appearing. As he escaped them, he's horrified by the sight of dead ice bears. Outside the gate, both the S-rank hunters are fighting, causing the surrounding to be leveled out. Fortunately, they got stopped just in time. He persuades him to stop as Jin Woo is just an E-rank. Feeling bored, he left the scene. The leader is shocked as the low-rank hunters are alive and well. Kim Chul got livid and demanded to know the culprit who hid the supplies. If they don't speak up, he'll slaughter them. Then, he got smacked by Jin Woo. Worrying about him is the least of their worries, as the boss has arrived. He says that there's someone useful after all, to which Jin Woo replies, "Wait, they can understand him?" The elf asks him why does he surround himself with humans when he's not one. Therefore, there's no need for them to fight if he just hands them over. Jin Woo summoned his shadow warriors as his reply. The ground shook from their collision. Jin Woo leaps towards the boss, but he blocks his attack and went flying. Feeling excited, the elf dashed towards him. She worries for him since both the boss and Kim Chul attacks him. He said one word, "Arise." Jin Woo resurrected him to be his shadow warrior, while summoning Igris to defend him. The boss effortlessly cuts him, but Iron defends Jin Woo. Soon, him Igris and Iron fights the elf simultaneously. The spectators can't believe what they're witnessing. As the fight prolongs, the boss finds himself in trouble. When the smoke dissipates, all the enemies were already dead. Enraged by his fallen comrades, he went for Jin Woo, but the Shadow Warrior grabbed him, while the mages blew him up. Now, he has gone clinically insane, but then he got smashed to death. The Shadow Warriors celebrate their victory. The gate finally reopened. They explained that they were the ones who only survived. The guild leader can't believe this outcome and orders Jin Woo to stay. He explains that he should be thanking him for saving his members, to which he apologized. Now, he's certain he wants Jin Woo in his guild. He sent her home and she thanks him. On the next day, they went to pick Song Yi. After exchanging their greetings, he misunderstood that Jin Woo slept with a minor. Jin Ho is terrified of the Shadow Warriors. Jin Woo says that it's his skill. Somewhere in the US, a person is scared by the huge man who knocked down all his teammates. He claims to be Korean and wants to go home. In a restaurant, they celebrate as Jin Ho is now qualified to be a guild master. Baekhyun, on the other hand, is annoyed by the interviews about the Red Gate, but that's the least of his worries, since he received news about the S-rank monsters on Jeju Island. They are evolving at a terrifying rate. Now that Jin Woo is way stronger than before, he can finally challenge the dungeon. As he opens the doors, fire engulfs the land. The dungeon is a replica of Seoul, the capital of South Korea. Instantly, a horde of monsters dash towards Jin Woo. Jin Ho's dad investigated his raids, and the truth came out to light as he received help from Jin Woo. Despite that, Jin Ho still aspires to be the guild master. Surprisingly, he accepts it, since he wants Jin Woo to join their guild. Back in the dungeon, corpses of monsters decorated the floor. The gate to the second floor opens. Without hesitation, Jin Woo heads for it at full speed. In a room, the man is held for interrogation. He got stuck inside a gate for 10 years, but survived when he got transported to the USA. His name is Il-hwan. As Jin Woo progresses further, he notices that the demon castle has 100 floors, each different and vast. But this didn't stop Jin Woo from climbing the floors at a fast rate. Soon, he met the boss of the 50th floor, the ruler of the lower floors. With numerous guards protecting it, Jin Woo begins by casting magic towards the enemies. Then he summons Igris and Iron, while he goes undercover. In a flash, the boss disappeared. How can that fat thing move so fast? One by one, the Shadow Warriors got decimated. Jin Woo is pissed off, punching him head on. The punch caused a shockwave to be created. Wait, was he always this strong? Oh yeah, he went all in on strength. The boss is enraged and quickly got back on its feet. As Jin Woo calls for Iron, he blocked his attack by using his shield. Looking for an opening, Jin Woo went on the offensive, but the boss already prepared a counter. Luckily, Jin Woo evaded it just in time. Taking advantage of the environment, he dashed towards the collapsing building and uses that momentum to deal a lethal blow. He has slain the beast. Not only that, the loot that he got is broken. Back in the room, Il-hwan warns Hwang Dong-soo about the greatest disaster. But after being questioned, he stated that he can't say. From the documents, he discovered that his son is Jin Woo. The atmosphere instantly became chilling. He says that his son is dead. Back in the dungeon, a horde of skeletons roamed the place. Jin Woo responded with warriors of his own. A huge battle occurred, just like a war. Jin Woo ambushed the leader as he slashes it from above. He needs one more item to complete the set. He completed the quest of collecting demon souls. He chose a cursed random box as his reward. He received a mysterious key. The other reward is the recipe for the holy water of life. In Korea, the buildings are engulfed in flames. Hunter Hwang Dong-soo has lost the fight. Jin Woo visited his mother in the hospital. He figured out that by crafting the holy water of life, he can cure his mother of her illness. He needs one more item from the final boss to complete the potion. On a new day, Jin Woo went for a rank examination. As he places his hand on the giant orb, the inspector is puzzled as the system gives out an error. She showed the result to one of her co-workers, which completely startled him. He's an S-rank. This has caused a commotion between the hunters. Soon, somebody arrived. His name is Choi Jong-in, the guild master of hunters. He knows that Jin Woo is indeed an S-rank. He wanted to recruit him into his guild, but he declines. Back in the hospital, while thinking about his mother's condition, he meets a guy that has the name of Go Gan-hee. He got straight to the point by offering to give him status and authority. He explains that the balance of the power would crumble if he were to join any one of the 5 guilds. He simply states that he wants to keep his lifestyle of going into dungeons. A vicious man suddenly appears. Hwang Dong-soo awakes from his deep slumber. After that humiliating defeat, he swears that he'll get revenge. Outside the gate, Jin Woo decides to join the mining team. The reason he took this job is because he wants to see an A-rank gate for himself. Inside the dungeon, Choi Jong-in summoned a grand spell that completely obliterated all of the monsters. Soon, the country's strongest attack force returned from the gate. Jin Woo notices Choi Hai-in, the vice master of the hunters. She glances over the miners as she felt a strong presence. Luckily, Jin Woo manages to conceal his presence. As the miners did their job, they were stunned at the work ethic Jin Woo has. During their free time, he went to take a peek at the boss. However, he got caught in 4K. He simply explains that he got lost. Her eyes widen as the weapon he's holding suddenly vanish. As they pass by, she smells a different scent. She wants to confirm it, but what she thought was true. There isn't a stench. She investigated his ID badge, but it turns out he's just an E-rank. Strangely, she likes his smell. In the night, Choi Hae-in calls someone to find information on Jin Woo. The man on the phone told that Choi also requested information on him, but the Hunters Association has covered all his information. She lies on her bed pondering about the fact that he smells different from other hunters. On a new day, Jin Woo once again entered another dungeon, but this time as their baggage carrier. He somehow has a bad feeling just like the Red Gate, but maybe it's fine since their group consists of strong hunters. Suddenly, monsters came from the cave at tremendous speed. As they were holding their ground, more of them emerged from the darkness. But without long, they all got slain. The leader is curious as to why are there dungeon jackals in an A-rank dungeon. From inspection, they discovered that the monsters are being tamed by a stronger predator. A chill went down his spine as a bunch of high orcs appeared out of nowhere. It threw its javelin towards the leader. He blocks it, but they soon got surrounded by orcs. The mages cast their spell, but it's immune. The entire party is slowly losing their grip. She closes her eyes, accepting her fate. But weirdly, the orc is caught in a chokehold. His body got torn apart. The leader noticed that the fight miraculously became easier. Jin Woo is slicing their vital points while being invisible. In the end, they're victorious. The girl already knows that Jin Woo is behind it, but thinks that maybe she should stay silent. Acknowledging the difficulty of the dungeon, the leader told them to head back, but a barrier is preventing them to do so. Suddenly, they felt a surge of mana throughout the dungeon. They panic as the boss of this dungeon is that powerful. Their eyes started to drain in blood. The mages are affected by cursed magic. The leader glanced behind only to be greeted by a terrifying sight. Hundreds of high orcs line up, ready for battle. The orcs started speaking in human language. The party has two options, that is to die or follow them. The leader asked Jin Woo to retreat and call for reinforcements when they ambush the boss, while the woman asked him to send her goodbye message to her family. Outside the dungeon, Choi Hae-in is curious about Jin Woo's absence. The entire situation seems really suspicious, so she asks them for a weapon and heads inside the dungeon. The boss room is massive, with hundreds of orcs gathered in what seems to be like an underground coliseum. The party is terrified as this number of enemies can easily destroy a city. With one word, their will begin to shatter. The reason why he brought them here is for the sake of their entertainment, but he realizes that there's an anomaly amongst them. As the leader charges towards the boss, all of them stand there in fear. His effort is proved to be futile. By using gravity magic, he crushed their leader. Fortunately, Jin Woo managed to save him. He told him that he can't interfere because it's their property, so he asked if he can kill them all. Jin Woo easily killed the orc and asked once more, can he kill them? The leader begged him to do so. In an instant, he summoned all the shadow warriors. Outside the gate, the members from the association has arrived to the scene, wanting to retrieve Jin Woo before he does too much damage. But the chief felt his skin burn as he made contact with the gate. When using the magical detector, it went crazy. Choi Hae-in is surprised as the party was able to defeat this many high orcs. The party is in awe as he manages to conjure up this many summons. The orcs then rush towards them, but Iron manages to sweep them in one blow. Aegis, on the other hand, killed a fair share of orcs. However, the shadow warriors struggle against the orcs. It's now a battle of endurance. Jin Woo went for the kill, but his attack got blocked. With one word, he turned his own warriors against him. The boss is shocked. Could he be the monarch? The generals between both parties clash it out. All three of them won their individual fight. The boss became afraid and unleashed all of his spells at once. But Jin Woo is immune to them due to his artifact that he got from the demon's castle. The upgraded magic caster destroyed his shield. Choi Hae-in is speechless. Those are all summoned creatures? The boss charged up a massive fire blast, but Jin Woo evaded it and diced his body. The other members finally arrived to the scene. What is happening here? She told them that this is Jin Woo's doing. Looks like their worries are for naught. She asks if he knows anything about him, but doesn't get the answer she's looking for. The boss kneels down to the ground. His death is now inevitable. After a final screech, he died. They are all frozen in the moment, witnessing him making the boss as his summon. Tusk is his new elite soldier. As the battle cleared out, he's worried that he didn't notice them. The chief told them to be quiet as they all witnessed a hunter surpassing of an S rank. They thanked Jin Woo, and it turns out that she didn't have to give the message after all. Choi Hae-in didn't have a chance to speak to him, but is embarrassed from her choice of weapon. Back in the headquarters, Choi Jong-in is flabbergasted to find out that Sang Jin-woo participated in their guild's raid. Based on the reports, even he knows that he doesn't hold a candle against Sang Jin-woo. One thing's for sure, they must win him over to their guild. On a new day, Sang Jin-woo went to the Hunters Association, but looks like there's an event going on. Fortunately, the chairman said that he's their guest. Lee Min-sung is frustrated that he's not the focal point. To add salt to injury, he got rejected by the guards, as Sang Jin-woo's rank examination is a priority. Both S-rankers greeted them as they passed by. During his rank examination, he was told to demonstrate his abilities. He summoned a shadow warrior. The chairman is curious if he can do more. In an instant, the entire field is surrounded by shadow warriors. He said that he can summon 100 of them. As he quickly got his badge, he made his escape, but the media has already caught on. Sang Jin-woo is on TV. People from all over Korea finally sees his real identity. Jin-ho stated that he failed in recruiting Sang Jin-woo into his guild, but instead offered him as vice master for his future guild. His father isn't angry since he created the guild for their safety, but Jin-ho expressed his desire to follow in Sang Jin-woo's footsteps. The reporters are relentless with their questions, so he made his swift retreat. Baek couldn't follow his movements. He suspected that Sang Jin-woo is a hunter that can go stronger from every fight. In the hospital, Hwang Dong-soo is angered to see Sang Jin-woo alive. He decided to go shopping for protection before heading to the final floors of the demon castle. His sister is scared about the reporters, about not wanting to leave their neighborhood. Sang Jin-woo wants to make them go away, but she advises to not do that as he's already known for his stubborn behavior online. The knocking on their door is the final straw for him, but it's actually Jin-ho. He got kicked out of his house. Back home, Jin-ho's father can't believe that he wants to follow Sang Jin-woo, but then his vision starts getting blurry. While sneaking out of the house, he summoned a shadow warrior to look after his sister. Soon, he heads back into the demon's castle with preparations. Tusk with the orb managed to level out the playing field and kill many monsters. At the same time, an ant successfully reached the land without dying. Two people spotted the walking insect. A war will come soon. Sang Jin-woo split the Shadow Warriors into 6 teams, each led by an elite. With this, clearing the dungeon should be much faster. As many days pass by, he managed to reach the 80th floor. More time passes by, and he learns that there's a strong enemy that's preventing him from proceeding forward. Following his intuition, he found the culprit. The demon noble single-handedly killed the shadows. Sang Jin-woo quickly ambushed the demon knights. He avoided the attacks from the demon noble and made his counter. However, the demon surrendered. It's a girl? She explained that it's a given to attack the intruders, so she apologized. Sang Jin-woo asked if it's okay for her to act like that since he has slain his comrades, but she explains it's their duty. The girl is more selfish than he thought. When he lowered his defense, she took the chance to stab him, but it was pointless. She begs for mercy and says that she can give him the entry pass to the upper floors. He looks at her intently. In the end, he accepts her offer. He asks if she heard a voice to kill all humans, to get a hint about the system's nature. She explains that they are bringing influence to protect this place, and they got summoned from the demon world to prepare for war. She suddenly speaks in a robotic voice, prohibited from revealing any information. She then drops to the ground. In Japan, the ant is going on a rampage, killing the civilians one by one. The Hunters Association had a meeting to discuss the potential threat and countermeasures for the monster. Unfortunately, it seems like the enemy is too powerful and the number of dispatchable hunters are limited. One option is to prepare for another Jeju Island raid, but a national level hunter wants to be involved. Finally, she regained consciousness. Essel brought Sang Jin-woo to meet her father. He's afraid of him as he knows the abundance of shadow warriors hiding behind his shadow. Sang Jin-woo explains that he only wants the entry pass and his daughter for the time being. After explaining the situation, he received the entry pass and asked her to not interfere in the battle as he will be doing all the work. Back in the headquarters, the hunter says that he can join the raid since he's busy, but the hunter from Japan's top guild will be visiting today. Inside the demon's castle, Sang Jin-woo levels up steadily with his shadow warriors being promoted into higher ranks. She asks why did he spare her. He simply stated that he likes her. After decimating his way to the 97th floor, he told Essel to head back. She's saddened by the fact that she's no longer useful, but she wants to keep going with him, to which she doesn't mind. Back in Korea, the Japanese hunter has arrived. Koto will give his utmost support in the raid. He proposed a plan to kill the queen ant since ants only have a 1-year lifespan. Basically, your forces will distract the ants while your main force targets the queen. Finally, they arrive to the final floor. They're immediately greeted by the demon king Baron. Can he win against him? As he raised his sword, numerous portals open, which various demons emerge. The entire battlefield is filled with high-rank monsters. Essel screamed at Sang Jin-woo, then he activated his skill. They got pierced from the ground. The elites made their move, each slaughtering an army of monsters. The magnificent sight took her breath away. The Demon King charges up a spell that changes the environment around them. Sang Jin-woo protects Essel from the lightning, but the Shadow Warriors are getting damaged. He targets the Wyvern's wing, but got stopped by a sword. Sang Jin-woo crashed crashed to the ground. Without rest, the Demon King already charged a grand spell. Luckily, he evaded the attack. Tusk fired a spell back to protect him. This caused the Wyvern to crash down. The Demon King fired a huge blast. Tusk protects Sang Jin Woo, but unfortunately, his mana is getting depleted rapidly. The Demon King eliminated Iron, and Igris went on the offensive, but got blown to pieces. Sang Jin Woo uses Vital Strike, but it got parried. Igris ambushed the Demon King from behind, which created a gap in its defense. The boss is enraged, which creates a huge shockwave, pushing him back. The Demon King dual wields cursed daggers. Now, the real battle has begun. They clashed at sonic speed, exchanging blows with one another, not stopping for a second. Sang Jin Woo finds himself in a bind as the boss is preparing a spell, making him lose grip of his daggers. As he holds his arms, the boss is preparing for another spell. Fortunately, SL attracted his attention. Using this chance, he uses his skill to rip his limbs apart, and simultaneously gave him an uppercut. He has slain the Demon King. He tells her that the Redis clan is now on top, but she corrects it, saying it's Radir. In the end, he successfully crafted the Holy Water of Life. Not only that, he got a new Shadow Warrior. Its name is Kaisel. He also obtained a Shadow Exchange runestone, which allows him to exchange locations with his Shadow Warriors. Basically, teleportation. SL wants Sang Jin Woo to join the banquet with her, but he has to go now. SL wants to confess, but he's back in his hometown. In a 10, the S-rank hunters are discussing about the upcoming Jeju Island raid. He explains that he won't be joining since a hunter's life isn't suited for him. Sang Jin Woo arrives in the hospital. His hand is shaking. This is a life-changing moment. He still remembers the scar that he gave her during his childhood. After making her drink the potion, her complexion becomes normal. But she isn't waking up. After waiting for a while, a voice is heard. She asks of how long she has been asleep. He told her that it's been 4 years. She apologizes for the inconvenience she brought. It's been a long time since he cried. In the morning, his sister broke down in tears. Looks like his efforts aren't in vain after all. But he notices that he completely changed for the worse. Sang Jin Woo receives a phone call from the chairman. He explains that they need him to participate in the Jeju Island raid. In the training grounds, they expected Baek and Dong Wook having a friendly spar. Soon, Choi Jong-in arrived. But it's not long till the other Japanese S-rank hunters arrive as well. The S-rank hunters are discussing about Sang Jin Woo, noticing that he gives off a unique presence. Goto is looking at his surroundings, noticing Chai Hae-in, a hunter that rivals his power. Sang Jin Woo noticed the commotion between the hunters. Choi stated that the fight will be fun. Both of them have a duel to prove who's the better hunter. Whoever can grab their wrist first wins. As the duel begins, she immediately dashed towards him, but the match soon ended. He advised her to not underestimate anyone, but she turns a blind eye. Based on their demonstration, the S-rank hunters will be fighting with the same rules but with a twist. Without delay, the titans clash their fists. The other two are fighting with more dexterity. The man in the mask ambushed back, but he retreats. He returns the favor by jabbing at his head, but it looks like the Japanese hunters have an edge. Choi Hae-in, on the other hand, is slowly overwhelming the Japanese hunter and winning the fight. Wanting to help Baek, she got ambushed from behind. She instinctively reacted by jabbing at him. This caused his personality to change as he turns on his bloodlust. He tried to kill her but got stopped by Sang Jin Woo. Goto acknowledges Sang Jin Woo's strength and asks for a duel. He accepts the fight only if he doesn't hold back. As Sang Jin Woo starts the match, he instantly greeted with a jab. Goto can't believe his speed since he's registered as a mage-type hunter. Sang Jin Woo avoids his attacks while smiling. The rest of the hunters watch in awe. Chai Hae-in knows that Sang Jin Woo is still playing with him. Goto is enraged to the point of wanting to kill him, but fortunately, they got stopped. The hunter complimented Sang Jin Woo. Based on the fight, Sang Jin Woo now knows all their strength. Goto, on the other hand, is sweating profusely. Back in Jeju Island, the ants are eating each other. The queen is livid as she wants to escape from their predicament. She wants ultimate soldiers to lead her people. As one of them hatches, a surge of energy can be seen emanating from the island. Back in his home, they're cleaning the house. She asks Sang Jin Woo about his father, but unfortunately, there's no news of him. The media went wild about the news regarding Jeju Island. Jin-ho introduced Sang Jin Woo about their new headquarters for their guild. Jin-ho also says that there's a foreigner who wants to meet him. It suddenly clicked. Hopefully he can be on time. Hwang Dong-soo is threatening the lady in front of him, but Sang Jin Woo arrived in the nick of time. A helicopter carrying hunters flew to Jeju Island. Goto is afraid by the image she saw that day. Many battleships are deployed from China and Taiwan. Thousands of hunters are preparing to defend the nation from the ants. Chai Hae-in asks if he got in contact with Sang Jin Woo. Unfortunately, there's no signs of him. Goto and his team arrived in Jeju Island. He told everyone to release the detonators. Instantly, thousands of evolved ants came out. Choi Jong-in casted a wave of fire magic that incinerates the ants. He then drops to the ground, finally able to unleash his full potential. The other S-rank hunters followed his lead. By using a device owned by the Japanese government, it prevents the ants from communicating with the queen. All of the Japanese teams hold their ground. Inside the crater, Choi Jong-in casted fire projectiles to search for an entrance. Sang Jin-woo is doing his daily quest as usual. He thinks they'll be fine unless if something unexpected happens. Soon, they stumbled across the hatchery. Chai Hae-in noticed that there's a single hatched egg that's unusually large. Outside, the Japanese hunters are casually having a small talk. He noticed that more ants are coming, but as soon as he looks back at her, she doesn't have a head. Before getting the chance to even react, both of them instantly got decapitated. Inside the cave, the Korean hunters are having a hard time dealing with the queen's bodyguards. Fortunately, they managed to wipe them out. Beck warns them as from here on out, they're facing the second generation of ants. The mage buffed them for good measure. It wouldn't be too long till another horde of ants appear from the darkness. Outside, the Japanese hunters are looking for their teammates, only to be shocked by their headless corpse. One of them can't handle the smell from somewhere. He releases magic on instincts, but it's useless. Soon, they reach the boss layer. Choi Jong-in releases full power, while the others support him in the rear. Beck fully transformed into a beast. As the fight is gonna be harder from here on out, Choi Hae-in taunts the enemy, while the tanker aggroes the queen. The entire situation is being broadcasted throughout Japan. Beck unleashed a wave of attacks that pierces through the queen. It vomits toxin in retaliation. Fortunately, they got healed in no time. Choi Jong-in fired up a spell that engulfed the entire room in flames. The queen gave out an ear-blasting screech. They're surprised as the ants went back to the mountain. Choi Hae-in decapitates the queen. Is it over? Suddenly, they felt a tremendous amount of energy. Beck could not believe what he's seeing. The ultimate soldier N arrived to the scene. He could not believe that a single monster can emit this much power. Choi Hae-in got on her knees as the room filled with cursed aura. The hunters stood frozen in place as the end passes by. The queen is dead. Their bodies just gave up upon hearing its sound. In an instant, Choi Hae-in flew to the wall. The ant destroyed his shield easily and tore his limbs apart. One by one, they got defeated in an instant. The ant catches the arrow and punched him. Fortunately, his limbs got regenerated, but it's useless against the ultimate soldier. It spotted the healer in a camouflage. Beck screams his name, but it was too late. All of them knew they're gonna die. Beck leaps towards the ant, filled with anger. It grabbed him by his neck and imitated his friend's voice. The ant asked, "Who is their king?" All of them can only remain silent. Suddenly, he noticed a strong presence outside. They're relieved that thing is gone, but they don't have time to rest. Outside, the remaining Japanese team are shocked to see the sight of their comrade. Goto simply says that they're weak, so there's nothing to worry about. It turns out, Goto wants to betray the Korean hunters by escaping Jeju Island. The goal of complete elimination of Korea's S-rank hunters is a success. Suddenly, one of them got decapitated. Goto ordered him to get away. The ant asked him if he's the king. Goto says that he is. Upon hearing his response, the ant filled the battleground with magical power. It's similar as to before. His head got chopped off. Choi Jong-in is desperately trying to fend the monsters off, but luckily, shadow warriors begin emerging from the ground. Sang Jin Woo has arrived. The media is facing heavy backlash from the viewers. However, suddenly someone new appeared to the scene. The guy ordered them to broadcast the entire thing live. Sang Jin Woo is surrounded by all his shadow warriors. Iron taunted the ants, while Sang Jin Woo slashes them all in an instant. Beck turns to them as he says that he thinks they're safe. All the ants are getting wiped out by each of the elite warriors. Sang Jin Woo thinks he shouldn't hold back anymore. Shadow Ant warriors are being resurrected from the ground. He uses the potion to heal all of them. Unfortunately, Choi Hae-in's condition is the worst. He told them to evacuate, but finally, the real battle has started. The ant asks if he's the king, to which he thinks is cute. In the news, all of them watch carefully as the reporter displays the news of an unknown hunter. The Japanese Hunters Association is livid to know that the Korean hunters are still alive. Back at home, his sister can't believe what she's seeing. Even the chairman is hyped to see him. The ant didn't hold back. As the smoke starts to clear out, they all notice that Sang Jin Woo is still standing. He used his skill to deal a little blow at point blank. This sent the ant flying. The ant dashed towards Sang Jin Woo, and he blocks it, causing an earthquake. Both of them continuously exchange their blows. The ant is slowly being pushed back. Who is this person? Sang Jin Woo cracked his exoskeleton. In disbelief, he gave an uppercut while the ant spits out poison. Is it over for him? He grabs its hand and punches the ant. He attacks from above, but it escaped. Knowing that he's stronger, the ant is gonna rely on speed now. It dashed towards Sang Jin Woo, but he dodges. Both of them fight at sonic speed, leaving trails of light behind. Sang Jin Woo dealt devastating blows to the ant, causing it to retreat. However, his new obtained skill rendered the ant immobile. The ant called upon the soldiers for help, but he has his own warriors as well. The battlefield is instantly leveled out as they bash each other. Tusk activated his skill, which blew a large hole in the mountain. The other hunters can only watch while being scared of his ability. The ant has only one thing in mind. He has to flee. As the ant was about to escape, Jin Woo pinned him down. He menacingly glazes below while the ant crawls in fear. Then, he unleashed his skill. The enemy has been slain. Baek called Jin Woo as her condition is getting worse. He told the guy to turn off his camera, then ordered his shadow warriors to look for the healer's body. Baek doesn't consent about what he's doing, but it's the only way to save her. The hunters are in shock as Jin Woo is able to summon the dead to be his warrior. He said that he can tell what kind of man he used to be. Baek is in distraught. Choi Jong-in realizes that the more he battles, the stronger he gets, which makes the thought itself scary. Baek asks Jin Woo to not do this, as that's not what his friend would want. He smiles at him since it's not an order, but a heartfelt request. Hence, Jin Woo cancelled the summon. The aftermath of the battle is trauma-inducing. He told Baek to let him handle the stragglers. On his wyvern, he killed the remaining mobs. Witnessing the footage, the director of the Hunter Management Bureau wants Jin Woo on their side. Back at Jeju Island, he finally reached level 100. Then, Jin Woo resurrects the ultimate soldier ant. The shadow ant wants to be given a name. Despite being killed by him, the ant says that he's overjoyed to be resurrected. His name is now Beru. The hunters are still having a hard time killing the ants. Some of them even arrived on shore already. Luckily, Beru took care of them. A man is seen standing on the battleship. In less than a second, he killed all the ants. Somewhere in a building, Thomas Andre is angered that one of his members got killed by Jin Woo. While the hunters are still killing the remaining ants, they stumbled upon a man dressed up in primitive style. Upon the snap of his fingers, everyone became unconscious. He said that there's no reason to make a scene. The guy is surprised that Jin Woo is helping humans. Nonetheless, both of them have their own missions to accomplish. Jin Woo offered a rose on his coffin. If only he went sooner, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Baek thanks Jin Woo for saving Korea. Hae-in glances towards him, feeling embarrassed. The chairman asks Jin Woo if he puts a barrier back on Jeju Island, since their hunters became unconscious. He explains that he did no such thing. Was it the ants doing? In the parking lot, a man by the name of Adam White greeted him. He says that he has crucial information to offer and invites him to meet the director. Jin Woo isn't interested, but that soon changed as he mentions the name Upgrader. Soon, he met with the director. Adam brings in the person who is an upgrader. Her name is Norma Selner. She explains that only reawakened people can exceed their limits. She offered to analyze his strength to see his true potential. Adam is happy as this will bait him into wanting more power. As she holds his hands, she's brought into a dark space. An image of a person with glowing eyes engulfs her consciousness. This made her scream in fear. Then, guns are aimed towards Jin Woo, but the deputy director told them to shut it, but he doesn't mind. After Jin Woo made his leave, he asked her what she saw. She explains that Jin Woo is a king with no limits. Back in Korea, the chairman asks Jin Woo to take care of the gate that spawned in the middle of the road. As he enters the gate, it suddenly fluctuates and turns bloody red. For some reason, he feels like this is a red gate. Before this, his mom didn't oppose him from being a hunter as he loved his dad for his righteous personality. But she asked him to not push himself too hard. Well, it seems like he can't really do that. At the start of season 2, we're greeted with a familiar figure. Yogumunt came to deliver information. He said that the greatest fragment of brilliant light is in the east. Then, someone entered the scene. He provoked him to stop them if he can. He attacked him, but the old man casted an ice barrier, which caused a loud explosion to occur. Back in the dungeon, the boss applauds Jin Woo for making it this far. He calls upon his comrades, but it looks like they all have been slain by shadow warriors. He ordered them to kill the monsters. A massacre then took place. While the enemy on horses are targeting Jin Woo, the elites took care of them. Tusk used reverse gravity to make the leader immobile. He received the mysterious key to a temple, the double dungeon, in the beginning of his adventure. He wonders if this is all planned. The dark truth behind this world awaits for him. Back at their guild, Jinho is curious if he's decided a name for their guild. Suddenly, someone is knocking on their door. It's Chai Hai-in. Jin Woo questions her presence. She stated that she wants to join his guild. After making themselves comfortable, he can't comprehend her way of thinking. Why does she want to join their solo play guild? The solo play what? Why would she randomly join their guild? She also explains that she doesn't care about the money, which made him even more curious. In short, ever since he met him, she slowly sees him as the light in this dark world. After After the Jeju Island raid, she starts to fall for him. She knows that she can't blatantly just say that in front of him. Her face glows bright red, which made him even more curious. He's fine with her joining if she can beat his summon. He asks her to hold tightly so they can relocate to the gymnasium. As Jin Ho makes his way into the room, they're nowhere to be seen. She forgets to bring her weapon, to which Jin Woo brings up an embarrassing memory. He summons Igris to be her duel partner. Finally, the battle begins. Igris uses the sword to create a huge slashing force. She's holding well on her own. The chairman is surprised that the lights were on. After seeing the footage, he asked to turn the cameras off since he made an embarrassing conclusion. In the end, Chai Hai-in is victorious. She asks to bring his strongest summon this time, even though it might traumatize her. He asks again if she's okay with it. He told Beru to win without harming her. The atmosphere immediately becomes suffocating. She can't believe Jin Woo fought it. He appeared from behind and blocked her attack. Knowing that he can't harm her, he tries to act empowering to make her lose spirit. Chai Hai-in did a couple of swings, but he evaded all of them. Beru screams at her face that pushes her back. However, she won't give up. Beru is livid that she's there to still challenge him, so he dashed towards her. She activated her skill, but the sword broke into pieces. Summoning a blade of light, she pierced Beru. Jin Woo noticed something bad, his innate instinct for survival. Before things got out of hand, he luckily saved her. Jin Woo asked if she was okay. Beru is disappointed with himself. He asks why she's going so far to join their guild. Is she interested in him? To which she thinks so. In the USA, she explained what she saw in Jin Woo that day. He doesn't borrow his power from the other side. Hence, he has no limits. Inside the lift, he tells the story of the first S-rank dungeon, which caused the deaths of countless S-ranks. When they arrived, he explained that this is the loot that dropped from the boss. They're surrounded by the remains of the monster. Back in Korea, Jin Woo is puzzled if he's actually handsome. He asked for a second opinion, but she gave a sarcastic response. About the guild's name, she recommends Ajin Guild, which has a positive implication. In the night, Chai Hai-in is beyond embarrassed by her response. She tries to justify her feelings since Jin Woo is her savior. Recalling back, she remembers Min Byung-gu to tell him he needs to be careful of his own power. Back at her guild, they're greeted by the guildmaster of the Knights Guild. He showed him footage of a large gate opening up somewhere in Busan, that's just below an S-rank. After agreeing to each other's condition, he heads to Busan. A lot of hunters are gathered just for this raid. Somewhere in a school building, 3 students are walking down the hallway, but that's when they encountered a gate. The monsters appear to have intelligence and is thrilled to hunt humans. As the students are talking, it leaped towards them. Outside the gate, many hunters are thrilled to see Jin Woo in person. The raid is about to start. A person from the Hunters Association received a phone call. She's shocked to learn of monsters inside a school building. The students said the monsters are human-like creatures. She screamed at her to run away, but it's too late. All the students rush outside the school. The monster made his way into the classroom. One by one, they're getting killed. She prays for Jin Woo to come. The orc leaps towards her. As she closes her eyes, she accepts her fate. But that's when a shadow warrior came to the rescue. The orc was sent flying. 3 shadow warriors are guarding her. Back in the dungeon, a large monster attacks them head-on, but the leader blocks it while the others aimed at its vital spots. The mages summon spells that incinerate the monster. Not before long, they're surrounded by the undead. Jin Woo suddenly felt something happening outside the gate. He summoned Beru to take his place, then rides on a wyvern to head for his sister. He can't waste any time. Back at school, the shadow warriors took care of the orcs. However, the boss finally made his move. He begins his assault. He ordered them to grab the girl. The shadow warriors have a hard time staying alive. Then he grabs her by her face. Upon noticing someone coming, he released her. His knees began to give out. A loud explosion occurred. Fortunately, Jin Woo came just in time. He apologizes that he's late while asking if everyone is okay. She can feel Jin Woo's anger. Seeing the mark on her face makes him feel a different type of emotion. While escorting them out, he stares menacingly at the orc. Feeling terrified, he told them to attack, but he effortlessly kills them one by one while walking towards the leader. He stands there, keeping his attention at the target. He grabs him by his face and asks, why does he do this? The orc says that there's a message to keep killing the humans. Jin Woo won't make him die that easily. Back in the dungeon, the boss is an archlich. Upon seeing Beru, he questions why the monarch's warrior has come to defeat them. Beru insults the boss as they're not the chosen ones. Beru grabs the core of the boss and crushes it. They have completed the dungeon. Looks like bringing Jin Woo was the right move after all. The aftermath of the school incident is trauma-inducing. Many parents are sad by the death of their children. In a car, the chairman explains that the number of gates has been increasing throughout the world. Before leaving to the hospital, Sang Jin Woo asks if he can clear dungeons by his own in exchange for protecting this country. In their headquarters, Jin Ho introduced his cousin to be the final guild member. She's happy to see Sang Jin Woo in person. But first, can she get a selfie? After seeing her pose, Chai Hae-in got annoyed. Not long, Sang Jin Woo went to another dungeon, but he got greeted with numerous reporters. The chief advised him to maybe not post on social media. This time, he will accompany Sang Jin Woo in the raid to ensure if letting 2 hunters in a high-rank dungeon is safe. Soon, he realized that his efforts were in vain. The Shadow Warriors easily annihilate everything in their path. He's surprised that Igris can summon lightning every time he swings his sword. The entire battlefield is surrounded in light, followed by a loud explosion. Sang Jin Woo keeps them in check and gave them orders. For the boss fight, he leaps towards it while slashing its entire body. The dungeon is completed. The chief is surprised to see Sang Jin Woo turning the boss into his summon. He named it Jima. With Tusk carrying the boss, the dungeon raid is completed. Somewhere in Japan, a large rift opened up in the sky. It's a gate? Based on the reports in Japan, they're in a bind of who to rely on. When many gates are opening all over the world, he explains that there's only one person fit for the job, which is Yuri Orlov. In the parking lot, he noticed Chai Hae-in, which she quickly runs away. Sang Jin Woo asks the reason of her arrival. She explains that she's taking her car since they teleported last time. Getting to the matter, she wants to talk about his power. Sang Jin Woo asks about the message she received. Basically, he told him to be careful of his power, since he might pose a threat to Earth itself. Right now, he needs to know the origin of his power, and also the system. He uses shadow vision to check on his sister's condition, but accidentally saw a bit too much, which caused him to be taken aback. In the negotiation room, Yuri Orlov demanded $10 million per day for his support, but he seems to have other malicious intentions in mind. His mother asks him if he's alright, to which he smiles and reassures her that he's gonna be fine. It's time to go back to the double layer. Inside the dungeon, the hunters are puzzled by the mysterious door in front of them. He told them to leave, as it's extremely dangerous. They want to continue since this dungeon is their property, but Sang Jin Woo won't stop them. As the leader walks in, he almost got smashed. Sang Jin Woo told them to report that a double dungeon has appeared. The interior of the dungeon is nostalgic, just like that day. He knows that someone is controlling the statues. He confronts the statue in front of him, but that's when the statue started talking. In the headquarters, the chief received news that Sang Jin Woo entered the double dungeon. Wings sprout from the statue and the tablet becomes broken. Sang Jin Woo confronted the statue if he called him, to which he said yes. He proclaims this to be his final test. If he can survive, he'll tell Sang Jin Woo everything. When he tried to summon his Shadow Warriors, he got stopped. He's on his own now. Looks like getting hidden perks proved to be useless. As the statue swings his sword, he grabs it and breaks it in half, while counter-attacking. Another statue swings its weapon, but he manages to counter-attack and leaps towards the other statues. He cancels the projectile and returns it back. He's been looking forward to this moment. The statue is impressed for a mere human. Sang Jin Woo is having a hard time, but he knows it's possible to win. Suddenly, the gigantic statue stands up. This is gonna be life or death. There's no end to the statues. The big guy is preparing for an attack. Sang Jin Woo used the statues as a barricade for the laser. He nearly escaped death. He dashed towards the big statue, where it lifts his foot, smashing the floor. However, Sang Jin Woo evaded it. He's about to do it again. He dodged in time and stands shoulder to shoulder with him. He used his skill, but it merely left a scratch. Analyzing the situation, he put all his energy into his fist, thus shattering his face. Finally, it dropped to the ground. With his upgraded skill, he rendered them all immobile. The leader applauded him for his performance. But it's not over yet. He needs to defeat him in 10 minutes or he'll die. Who really is he? He'll entertain his question by admitting that he's the creator of the system. Outside the dungeon, when the chief tried to enter, he can feel his entire body shudder. He requests the S-rank hunters for backup. Sang Jin Woo, just who are you? The statue grew several arms and in the speed of light dashed towards Sang Jin Woo, dealing a devastating blow. He's launched towards the wall. Am I going to die? As Sang Jin Woo regained his footing, the god unleashed many blows. He's barely holding on. The statue smiles as Sang Jin Woo exceeds his expectations. In the midst of the chaos, he punched him on the face. He finds their fight exhilarating. It truly was a good idea to make him into a player. Upon using his skill, it proved to be useless. The god can use the same skill set as his. He says that it doesn't matter if he kills him or not. His fate is already predetermined. He's the one who created the system after all. Noticing that there's not much time left, the boss jumps to the ground while doing an onslaught of attacks. In the midst of battle, his senses are getting sharper. He can read his movements. The god is surprised by his adaptability. He's slowly overpowering him. Finally, he lost it. All the statues rise back up to stop him. He used his skill to render the knights useless and cuts the arms of the god. 2 minutes remain. As they clash together, he admits defeat. He said that the answer is inside of him. The data sorted in his memory will be retrieved. Upon accepting it, the entire room glows brightly. Sang Jin Woo saw the other world. All the monsters are are looking at something. The sky is filled with portals. A bunch of holy knights appear to emerge from them. It turns out they all gathered to fight against the Silver Soldiers. It's truly the embodiment of war and violence. As the soldiers are about to win, someone appeared. Sang Jin Woo is shocked to see the Shadow Monarch. You're basically immortal. The Silver and the Black Army entwine on the battlefield. Screams soared over the sky. Wherever he goes, destruction is bound to happen. Outside the gates of the temple, the S-rank hunters have arrived. As they open the gates, only rubble remain. The leader greeted the humans. How can that thing talk? It told them to be quiet as they're interrupting something. They're surprised to see Sang Jin Woo standing with a blank face. The god made his move, saying they'll be offering to the king. Two portals open up, one from the demon clan and the other being beasts. Choi Jong-in told them to retreat as the statues have awoken. They will witness the birth of their king. That is, if they're still alive. The room shakes violently from the laser. When the other hunters are attacking the statues, it's stronger than they thought. Choi Jong-in is baffled as his magic isn't doing anything to them. Analyzing the situation, he needs to wake Sang Jin Woo up, but got blocked. He dares to wake the king up. The hunters pushed him back. The chief leaves Chai Hai in to wake him up. Sang Jin Woo witnessed the end of the war. They had an internal conflict. As the Shadow Monarch grabs him by his neck, the word windings is only said. The king of demons? How could he have not noticed? Sang Jin Woo has a second heart, but it looks like more soldiers are coming. Chai Hai in is struggling to get past the statue. He laughs as he enjoys the fight. She received a little injury. The statue finds it boring that humans are all the same. All of their efforts are futile. His face got blasted with magic. Choi Jong-in tells that the only way to survive is to wake Sang Jin Woo. Chai Hai in dashed towards him, but she got ambushed. However, a shadow appears before him. He demanded an explanation about her relationship with Sang Jin Woo. She simply stated that they're his friends. He decided to let her go, but everyone else will die. Before finishing his sentence, Sang Jin Woo break his jawline. What did he do to his body? All of them are relieved. The statue is surprised that their king didn't resurrect, but Sang Jin Woo still remains intact. He noticed that he became incredibly stronger. He confronted him about his intentions and what a player is. Or not, he will die. He said that if he kills him, he will become an E-rank hunter. Sang Jin Woo doesn't mind at all. While panicking, he tried to access the system, but his permission got denied. Sang Jin Woo already said that he'll devour the system. In an instant, he killed the statue, cursing him before he vanished. Finally, they emerged out of the dungeon. The chief regrets his decision to bring them in. But the biggest question is, how did Sang Jin Woo know its existence? He said that the dungeon called him. Choi Hai In asked if he's okay, but it looks like he's at his limit. Sang Jin Woo's father stands there, witnessing the prophesized tragedy. He's awoken in the hospital. Jin Ho explains that he was asleep for 3 days. He asks about the S-rank dungeon that happened in Japan. As Yuri Orlov uses his power to suppress the gate, creating a barrier that stops the monster from escaping, but that's when a gigantic monster is seen to emerge. With one swing, the barrier is destroyed. Yuri Orlov got eaten by the monster. Tanks are useless against them. Then, the S-rank hunters made their move. She targets his eyes, but it's quick to react. How can such a large monster be that agile? Watching the news, Sang Jin Woo predicts that if this continues, all of Asia might go extinct. However, his sister doesn't want him to go. He told her not to worry. In the park, he asked Beru about her condition. Beru explains that she doesn't do much except sleep. Later that day, he met Jinho's father, saying that he has the same illness as his mother. Now, he's forced to choose between saving his sister or his best friend's father. A large monster is seen standing in front of the entrance of the gate. Out of the 31 giants that came from the gate, only 2 are killed. At this rate, Japan will be wiped off from the map. Jinho is shocked as Sang Jin Woo wants to go to Japan, which makes him also want to go. But he says it's only a joke, but Jinho knows he's worried for him. The fight between the statues gave him a reality check, as there's stronger enemies ahead. At home, his mom asks if he's having dinner. Flashing back, Sang Jin Woo apologizes as he can't save Jinho's father. He knows that he can only use the potion a certain amount of times. As Sang Jin Woo is eating, he told his mother that he's going to Japan. She can only support him in the end. In the night, he wants to talk with his sister. He explains that he's thankful that he's still alive till this day. He reassures her that he'll come back alive, and thanks her for not stopping him from leaving. He said that he'll protect her even from afar. Soon, Sang Jin Woo went to the airport, but it looks like Jinho is determined to join. Back in Japan, the giants are still going on a rampage. As he's about to smash the civilians, a giant spear got thrown its way. A large dragon-like beast is seen standing. Jinho escorts the survivors to safety, which allows Sang Jin Woo to go all out. The Shadow Warriors pierce the giant's heart, while Sang Jin Woo on its back leaps towards the giant, slashing it in half. In the USA, the hunters are talking about Sang Jin Woo's trip to to Japan. He bet that he won't even survive a day there. But the national level hunter thinks otherwise. It looks like things are gonna get exciting tomorrow. The media reported live that Sang Jin Woo's summon are taking down the giants. A girl is seen running away from the giant. Luckily, she got saved in time. The other elites went for the kill. As the soldier is about to thank him, he responds in simple Japanese. It's time to get serious. Beru may have overdone himself. The Shadow Warriors helped a lot in significantly reducing the casualties. They see Japan in a disastrous state. Hanekawa explains that she's the only hunter left in Tokyo. She says that the situation is bearable, especially now that Sang Jin Woo is here. Looks like there's only one left. Shadow Warriors surround the battlefield. All of the elites are waiting for his command. She's shaken by the amount of Shadow Warriors present. Looks like everyone has gathered. It's time to clean up the mess. Thousands of Shadow Warriors dash towards the gate at full speed. The monster gave a menacing glare. With one swing of his massive sword, it cleared the path for him. It truly is a force to be reckoned. Tusk casted a large spell while the other swing its battle axe. But the giant decapitated in an instant. Hundreds of ants surround his feet. He wants to see what his weakness is. Slowly but surely, Shadow Warriors are getting slain, causing more mana to be drained. Analyzing the situation, he summoned Kaisel and went straight at his face. Igris swung his sword, but the monster evaded it. Now it's certain. Igris landed on his arm and unleashed an attack. While defending, Sang Jin Woo emerges from the light and stabs his eye. Using his skill, he plowed on him relentlessly. The sight of their battle makes certain that both of them are pure monsters. The giant suffered great damage while Beru supports Sang Jin Woo. They went ham on his face. He has slain the enemy. Suddenly, a powerful surge of magical energy emanates from the gate. It's absorbing the giant's magical energy. Without hesitation, he went through the gate. The place is massive. Across the vast hallway, a laugh can be heard echoing. The bounded giant welcomes the monarch. He asks to free him from the chains. However, upon a closer look, this isn't the one he knows. He explains that the ancient enemies of the monarch did this to him, since he's similar to Sang Jin Woo. He further says that all the monarchs have him on their side, so he needs his support. However, does he really think he's gonna blindly believe his words? The giant then screams incomprehensible words, which causes a notification to pop up. Should he accept his pledge? Yes. Sang Jin Woo asks about the soldiers that he saw in his memory. Why are the rulers coming after their throat? He says that they're preparing for war by transforming this world into a battlefield to fight the monarchs again. Soon, their world will become hell. He also says that the power he possesses is proof that the Shadow Monarch has betrayed the others, hence becoming the enemy to both the monarchs and the rulers. But he promises to help him. However, something still doesn't feel right. He asks if he's on humanity's side. He takes the chance to attack Sang Jin Woo, but he dodges it and stabs him. Maybe keeping him alive is a bad idea, but he said that it's Sang Jin Woo. He swung his hands, but he quickly rendered him immobile. The giant hopes that everyone he loves die. He has slain a monarch. Somewhere in the world, the deputy director and Selner arrived in a mansion. They cut to the chase as she says that he's going to get killed in the future. This enrages him. He says that he's a national rank hunter. Nobody can kill him. However, he entertains her statement and says who exactly would he get help from, to which she suggests Hunter Sang Jin Woo. News of the giants being wiped out spread throughout the globe. In that short time span, many events occurred. The American hunters are celebrating their successful S-rank dungeon raid. The assistant informed Thomas that Sang Jin Woo will be attending the International Guild Conference. Jinho stated that he has to return to Korea. He said it's a family problem. Jinho will soon find out the sad state of his father. He's devastated to see his father's condition. The man gave his father's logbook that's filled with memories. He cried as he continuously flips the pages. After they left, Sang Jin Woo sneakily gave his father the healing potion. Soon, his daughter is overjoyed to see him recover from eternal sleep. Sang Jin Woo gave him the best birthday present. Back in the mansion, Christopher can't seem to sleep after hearing that story. He drops the glass on purpose, but there's no noise. Is the nightmare coming true? A mysterious person appears in the hallway, with two more people in the back. He says that he can't save anyone if he helps humans. Fragment of the brilliant light, feeling fear, he won't hold back. The others are surprised by his transformation. Christopher leaps towards the enemies, making the mansion to be lit up in flames. The crowd cheers for Sang Jin Woo as he heads for the airport. In the flight back, Adam wanted to discuss something with him. He showed the footage of Christopher, a national rank hunter, dead in a mysterious incident. The association suspects the man in the picture to be responsible. Suddenly, his body starts levitating. Why is he holding a picture of his father? Adam quickly explains that his father attacked their S-rank hunters and vanished without a trace. He asks why did he show him the photo. Adam says that in the World Conference, the investigation behind his father will no longer be a secret. Sang Jin-woo is shocked about his father's return. In the press conference, Choi Jong-in expresses his gratitude to Sang Jin-woo ever since the Jeju Island raid, and him being Korea's representative is obvious. The chairman received news of a person wanting personal information on Sang Jin-woo. His name is Liu Zigeng. Looks like the strong recognizes the strong. The chairman decided to reject his request. In the USA, Thomas advised Hwang Dong-soo to not mess with Sang Jin-woo. Soon, he left the room. Thomas told to keep an eye on him as he knows his character. In the USA, the representative from Germany has arrived. They spotted him from afar. Should they say hello? As he takes a step forward, he felt nauseous. He noticed the thousands of shadow warriors hiding in his shadow. The chief, on the other hand, is embarrassed to be Sang Jin-woo's bodyguard. They meet with Adam White again. Jin-ho parted ways with him as he wants to get straight down to business. He wants Sang Jin-woo to replace Christopher and is offering the rune stone of Dragon Kamish, the worst calamity in history. Looking at the bones of Kamish makes him want to confirm something. In the building, they were puzzled of why he wants to see the corpse instead of the rune stone. But he soon realizes that Sang Jin-woo is actually trying to make Kamish into his shadow warrior. On the other hand, they're also afraid that it will tarnish their relationship if they outright reject him. They soon entered the room with its corpse. He explains that it took 5 national rank hunters to defeat it. He allowed him to resurrect it. With one word, the calamity has been brought back to life. The building couldn't withstand the pressure. The dragon asked if he was the one who summoned it. They're witnessing something straight from a horror movie. Unfortunately, the dragon seems to have a will of its own. The dragon is charging up an attack. All of the hunters started to panic. Sang Jin-woo demanded him to stop as he isn't influenced by the system to kill all humans anymore. With that, the dragon bows down to him. Sang Jin-woo is surprised that he served another dragon, the monarch of destruction. They couldn't believe that a dragon could be so loyal. However, Sang Jin-woo can't save him from the passage of time. As its final words, it warned him of 4 human beings who borrowed the ruler's power. Sang Jin-woo apologizes and says he'll recover the losses. It's truly a pity. Somewhere in the city, Sang Jin-woo finds out that Jin-ho is nowhere to be found. With no time to waste, he summons shadow warriors to search for him. Thomas is enraged that Hwang Dong-soo didn't follow his words. He ordered them to find him before Sang Jin-woo does. On top of the building, he carefully listens to his environment. He regrets not assigning a shadow to Jin-ho. Back in the apartment, Thomas asks his assistant about the current situation. She managed to convince the entire Hunter Bureau to cancel all the raids and utilize them to search for Hwang Dong-soo. In an abandoned building, Hwang Dong-soo punches Jin-ho to wake him up. He slams his head on the concrete and says that unless he speaks the truth on what happened to his brother, he's gonna get tortured endlessly. Jin-ho told him to fuck off. He then became unconscious. Then Hwang Dong-soo noticed someone standing outside. They're puzzled as the orc suddenly got scared. But that's not why he's afraid. Inside the car, Thomas worries that it had already begun. He dashed towards a specific place. Hwang Dong-soo got obliterated with one punch. Upon using the potion, it proves to be ineffective. Sang Jin-woo ordered them to heal Jin-ho. Hwang Dong-soo still provoked him. He says it's his final warning. Heal him. He refuses to do so. He asked again, but he failed to answer. The guy asked Sang Jin-woo if he killed his brother, to which he says he can ask him in the afterlife. Hwang Dong-soo charged up a punch, but he evades it and returns the favor. It sent him flying. There's nothing that he can do. Sang Jin-woo repeatedly slams his head against the steel. Finally, Thomas arrived to the scene. He told Sang Jin-woo to let him go and forget everything that happened. But he doesn't want to. Looks like they have to fight. He tosses him in the air while Dong-soo hopes Thomas will kill him. He seems to not care about his status. Then, the other hunters have also arrived. But looks like the battle has started. Sang Jin-woo asks him to take Jin-ho to the nearest hospital. The hunters from the scavenger guild will fight against Sang Jin-woo. Now, it's a battle of pride. He says it's not too late to apologize, which Sang Jin-woo doesn't give a fuck. Enraged by his answer, the battle has started. They raise their shields to defend, but the shadow warrior surrounds them instantly. Noticing Tusk, he killed him in an instant. He's coming full speed towards Sang Jin-woo, but he suddenly disappeared. Behind him, he attacked from his side, but it didn't leave a mark. Sang Jin-woo went flying. He can also use psychokinesis, but he responds with his own. He still chooses to attack despite being pulled towards him. He dealt a devastating blow. For the first time, he shed blood. Sang Jin-woo didn't stop. Acknowledging his strength, he won't hold back now. It's revealed that Thomas is one of the people with the ruler's power. He smashed the ground, causing a massive earthquake. He's in a bind now, as he reveals more of his strength. A black hole is created. The entire surrounding lights up. The building itself got evaporated into thin air. He jumps towards Sang Jin-woo. He knocks him down and Thomas is already preparing for another attack. He activated his ability, which surprised him. Their clash created a spark that shines brightly in the night sky. Thomas got heavily injured. Sang Jin Woo then avoids his attack and knees him in the face. They're in shock as Thomas is getting pulverized by Sang Jin Woo. Slowly, his pride is getting shattered. Not wanting to give up, he got punched again. Despite their begging, Sang Jin Woo didn't stop, making his face into a pulp. He finally admits defeat. The man is shocked to see the unbeatable national rank hunter in that state. Soon, Sang Jin Woo made his escape after tying loose ends. After the incident, Sang Jin Woo managed to obtain his new Shadow Warrior. Then, he arrived to the World Conference. All of them are chatting amongst themselves with rumors that he beat Thomas. The doctor explains that there are numerous grades that appeared throughout the world, especially in South Korea. He thinks that the places are related to the flashback of war he witnessed before. Later, it's revealed that Christopher, a national rank hunter, has been killed. The most likely suspect is Sang Jin Woo's father. Liu Zigang asked if he would kill his own father. He simply stated that he'll protect his family even if the whole world is against him. After the conference, Liu Zigang wants to meet Sang Jin Woo. After exchanging their greetings, they shook hands. He just hopes the suspect isn't his family member. Sang Jin Woo meets Selner again. She's afraid that her dreams are becoming a reality, so she wants him to protect their hunters. However, he still doesn't know who his real enemies are, but it won't hurt to know who they want him to protect. As the banquet begins, Sang Jin Woo is worried of Jinho's condition. When alone, he places shadow warriors to everyone present in the banquet to figure out who's his enemy. Soon, Thomas arrived to the dinner. He asked him of why did he let them live. He simply stated that they didn't commit a sin that deserves death. Back in Korea, the chairman thinks to himself that his age is catching up to him. But before he can rest, someone's in the room. He couldn't even sense his presence. The guy told him that the place has been isolated from the outside world. He calls forward the fragment of luminosity by firing a spell towards the chairman. Suddenly, the chairman's demeanor changes. He applauds his skills. He says he's already killed 2 of the mediums, and he's next. The fragment provoked him if he can do so. The monarch immediately used Grand Ice magic, but the fragment headbutts the spell and charges straight at him. He sees a spell casted and avoids it. He unleashes another punch which got rejected. The fragment knows that he must finish this at once. Unfortunately, the body can't handle the intense pressure. In an instant, the monarch pierces his body. He grabbed the ice and says that there's something he missed. Then he fired a magical blast that almost got him. A shadow warrior escapes from the building. He quickly realizes and chases after it. The monarch slashed but got caught by Sang Jin Woo. He grabbed him by his neck and questions his identity. The monarch told him why didn't he make contact with them, but realizes that's not the shadow monarch he knows. After making his escape, he told him to choose if he wants to save him or not. The monarch threw the projectile towards the chairman. Not being able to use his skill, he leaps towards him and making just in time to deflect it. The monarch is trying to escape. He used his skill, but it's too late. Sang Jin Woo called for Beru. Beru heals him, but it didn't work. The last option is the holy water of life. However, the chairman said that it's okay since he will die soon. Before leaving this world, he begged Sang Jin Woo to side with humanity. The chairman died. Soon, the news went crazy over the death of 3 world-class hunters. Sang Jin Woo swears to kill every last one of them. The monarch's battle has begun. Somewhere deep in a cave, the monarchs have a meeting. One of them suggests to wait for the monarch of destruction to kill Sang Jin Woo. However, the monarch of frost wants to kill him now. This has led some of the monarchs to leave. She wants to help the monarch of frost to kill Sang Jin Woo alongside another one. In a building, Thomas wanted to pick a present to give Sang Jin Woo since he spared his guild. Back at home, Sang Jin Woo's family is discussing whether they should move houses. When she went to retrieve the clothes, her face suddenly drops. Back in the Ajin Guild, Thomas and Leonard have been waiting 2 hours for Sang Jin Woo. Finally, he has returned. Thomas said that he brought a gift for him. They left with Leonard not even getting a chance to speak. Sang Jin Woo is stunned to see the blades of Kamish. This is a huge upgrade from his last weapon. Suddenly, they felt a surge of intense magical energy. The whole of Seoul is engulfed with one large gate outbreak. Sang Jin Woo finds it strange that he can go past through it. Thomas says he wants to stay in Korea for the time being, if this will be the end or beginning of humanity. Back at home, she asks her mother if she really doesn't want to move location, but she says that her son will protect them. Back in the dojo, Choi Hae-in received a phone call from Sang Jin Woo. On a new day, they went together in public. He didn't thought that this many people is still around. He said that he brought her since she is his only friend. He asked her if she wants to ride, which she happily accepts. However, it's kind of boring to them. Soon, they had lunch. He asked her if she wants to ride something more exciting. In the sky, they both ride on the wyvern. She finds the scenery beautiful. She thanked him for helping her over the years. In the night, they both shared a moment together, looking at the stars in the sky. In the city, somebody bumped into a person. He told the man to apologize, but soon he got eaten. Suddenly, the whole ground started to collapse. Cars and people are sent flying in the sky. The monarch has gone berserk. His deadly aura engulfs the battlefield. In the forest, Chai Hai-in is seen drinking from the pond. He offered her to go to a hotel. Back in the Hunters Association, the new chairman is stressed out that somebody is wreaking havoc in the city while the dungeon outbreak is bound to happen. In the hotel, he received a phone call from the chairman. Someone strong is wreaking havoc in Seoul. Strangely, he's unable to make contact with his shadow. He says that he needs to leave now. Back in Korea, Thomas felt a different kind of feeling. Who is this monster? The clash of their auras created shockwaves. The monarch made his first move, but got countered by Thomas. He punched him straight to a building, but he instantly regained his footing, knocking Thomas like a bullet. Thomas puts him into the ground. Unfortunately, he couldn't contain him. He transformed into a fragment. Baek knows that he stands no chance against him. Suddenly, he stands in front of him. The intense fear renders him immobile. He can't even make eye contact. Cars begin levitating in the air, then flew towards Thomas. But he uses his ability to gravitate the monarch towards him and unleashes his attack. A rain of blows came down in quick succession, but then he got stopped. He transformed as well. His mere presence causes dread in the air. The spectators can't do anything as they witness a massacre. He pulls out Beru, noticing that something is hiding in his shadow. Thomas then got him in a chokehold, twisting his head, but it had no effect. Then Leonard entered the scene. The monarch starts to smile, which causes him to stare blankly before getting eaten. A wyvern came down. The monarch killed it with a few slashes. Jin Woo has arrived. His kick caused an earthquake. As the others made their escape, another monarch came down. One monarch appeared from the ground. With everyone gathered, the real battle has started. A large wave of energy falls down from the sky. All shadow warriors are summoned to the battlefield. The frost monarch summons a huge ice spell, which froze most of the shadow warriors. They're disgusted for Jin Woo to use their kind as his soldiers. He swears that he'll kill the frost monarch. Ice golems started appearing from the floor, while the insect monarch summons a plague of monsters. Jin Woo slashes the enemies while dodging the attack of the ice golem, cutting its hand off while overpowering the others. He keeps his eye on the frost monarch, but the beast monarch ambushed from behind. They're clashing at rapid speed. The insect monarch summons hands from the air. This is gonna be a rough battle. Beru then escapes from the bind. She's angered that her kind betrayed her, but Beru calls her a crazy bitch, which enraged her. The frost monarch rained shards of ice. Jin Woo threw an axe at him. He dashed towards him, but the beast attacks with his blade, while Beru is caught by the insect monarch. The elite soldiers break out from the ice, and he regains his footing. The world can't believe what's happening. It's just like the end of the world. The shadow warriors gave the monarchs a hard time. Jin Woo emerges from behind and slices the monarch. She applied poison to him, but he's immune. She dashed towards him, but got caught in his ability. She saw purple lines that destroy her body. He has slain the enemy. The frost monarch lost it. He will trap all his shadow warriors so that it will drain his mana. Jin Woo received a fatal blow, but he suddenly disappears. From the rear, the blade nearly got the monarch. He can't seem to push through. They exchange their blows. He went behind him, but that's his biggest mistake. Is this the end of the world? The beast monarch pierces his body. The frost monarch stabs him in the chest. He told him that the world will be filled with corpses. All the humans will suffer torture for eternity. Jin Woo is frozen in place. A new notification then pops up. He's awakened in the hospital. Was that all a dream? Everything seems nostalgic. He repeats the same sentences like in the past. The chief asks if he's alright, but he says he needs to rearrange his thoughts. It seems like he traveled to the past. His sister walked in and is surprised about the man in front of her. He told her that he's going to the Hunters Association. He came to meet the chairman. He got straight to the point and says that he wants to kill the ants on Jeju Island. A notification then pops out. Upon seeing his aura, he questions his identity. The notification pops out again. The same events happen again while the notification keeps on popping out. At the end of his wits, he screamed the culprit to reveal himself. Then, someone appeared before him. He confronts him for trapping him inside an illusion world. The entity explains that he created this world. He is Jin Woo, the manifestation of his emotions. The power to create, destroy, and change the world is an omnipotent power. He's been waiting for this moment a long time. The Shadow Monarch. Why was he chosen? He will show him the beginning and the end. In the real world, his body starts to create sparks of darkness. They must not let the true king descend. Then, somebody kicked the beast monarch out of the way, causing both to fly to the wall. His dad came to the rescue. In the beginning of time, the absolute being split the light and dark to make war happen. For it, this is a form of entertainment. A rebellion occurred against the absolute being. He's the only one who didn't betray their ruler. By losing the battle, he became the Shadow Monarch, but it was too late. The remaining soldiers become the new rulers. The monarchs had no choice but to side with him to balance the playing field. Soon, he got betrayed since the the monarchs are scared of his power. Despite being victorious in the end, the rulers entered the battlefield. They begged him to stop the war. However, the Shadow Monarch won't forgive their betrayal. All of them are determined to end this war, and they show signs of respect. In the end, he could not make a decision, but then the monarchs figure out a way to spread chaos to other worlds, including Earth. Hence, the rulers, being the protector, wanted to give them a fighting chance by transporting dungeons that contains magical crystals to make them into hunters. The Shadow Monarch then gave the architect a job to search for a suitable medium to transport into Earth. Hence, the creation of the system to slowly adjust his body into possessing his powers. However, after witnessing his journey from the start, he began to change into the same character as Jin Woo. The Shadow Monarch asks if he wants to return to reality, but he already knows his answer. A notification pops out. The system is deleted. The limitations have been broken. The monarchs both know they don't have much time left. He dodged the attack while simultaneously jabbing at multiple angles at light speed. They acknowledge him for his skills as a true warrior. When he's about to charge up a spell, he got kicked in the jaw, and the other got stabbed by a knife. Suddenly, the hairs on his body start to rise. Jin Woo's body is glowing. The Shadow Monarch is coming. The Beast Monarch makes his retreat. This angered the Frost Monarch, but the Beast Monarch says that he hasn't seen his true power. Then, the Frost Monarch summons a grand spell that surrounds the entire area into ice. Is he planning to destroy everything? The large ice falls from the sky, but it got demolished by Beru. The Shadow Monarch has awoken. His entire body is filled with dread and fear. A large ball of mana expands out of the country, engulfing the entire earth. The Frost Monarch wants to take this chance before he can make a move, shooting a spell directly to Jin Woo, but he crippled his weapon in an instant. This is the power of the Shadow Monarch. The Beast Monarch escapes into the forest, but his death is inevitable. The Monarch doesn't know what to do but beg for mercy. He accepts his apology, but only if he can return the favor of striking him back. This enraged the Monarch. He transforms into a giant, but in the speed of light, Jin Woo tore his limbs. At the same time, the Frost Monarch is being occupied by Igris, which created enough time for Jin Woo to return. He has slain the Beast Monarch. Enraged by this outcome, he can do nothing but wail in pain. Jin Woo grabs his mouth and slices him up. His body vanished into nothingness. He wants to know who protected him just now. His father is slowly fading away, but not without meeting his son. He explains that he did this to protect his family, after getting bestowed the power of a ruler. His father asked if he hates him. Jin Woo said yes. But he also misses him. His dad wished that he was there for them. He wanted to talk to him more. He wants to stay with them longer. He's sorry that he couldn't be a great father to him. But he soon dissipates into nothingness. The rain deafened the sound of his misery. His mother knows that her husband is gone now. The media reported the horrific nightmare to the public, while Jin Woo returns home. However, the true calamity has yet to come. The Yuzi gang witnessed the gate for the first time. All the other hunters from all around the world are prepared to fight. Jin Woo couldn't believe what he's seeing. Thousands of shadow warriors emerged from the gate. As they were about to attack, Jin Woo screamed them to stop. He stands before them, standing in front of their leader. The shadow warriors kneels before him. They respectfully greeted their liege. What are they seeing with their own eyes? It looks like this was the true shadow army that the previous Shadow Monarch has left him. The real war starts now. The Hunters Association have their hands full, trying to explain the bizarre situation to the media. At the same time, Jin Woo organizes a plan to split them up into groups. Beru wanted to duel for the position of Grand Marshal. The battle has started. Beru dashed forward, but his weapon starts expanding. His sword is flexible. Beru regained his footing, but the Grand Marshal caught him in his trap. All of his attacks are earth-shattering, but Beru won't give up. In a different dimension, he finds out that the Shadow Monarch has betrayed them. It's time to take care of things himself. Back at home, he has breakfast with his family. He thinks that he must alert the people before the impending war happens. The Monarch of Destruction is scarily powerful as well. His mother asks if something is wrong. Then he's greeted by Jinho's father outside. He asks, why did he heal his illness? Jin Woo stated that he's trustworthy. As for returning the favor, he asked to look after his family if he's gone. The chairman shows footage of 8 gates appearing throughout the world. Jin Woo says they're enemies and transport his memories to the chairman. He can't believe that everything about the gates was just a facade for the real war to happen between the monarchs and rulers. There's nothing they can do against an army of dragons. Jin Woo gathered in a room with representatives from different countries to expose the truth of this world. Everyone feels a daunting tension in the room. In short, everyone will suffer. They don't believe him, as even national level hunters can stop them. He told them that hundreds of dragons on the same level as the world's greatest calamity will appear. Sang Jin Woo summons gates, which caught them off guard. The enemy can do that as well. There's only one thing they can do, which is run. This created a massive ripple effect throughout the world. One of his warriors informs him that the enemy would have at least 10 million soldiers. Sang Jin Woo went to China to fend off the monsters since it's the closest to his country. 100,000 hunters have gathered. He calls upon the Shadow Warriors. Liu Zigang asks if all of them are their summons, but that's when the gate started opening. However, the Shadow Warriors informs that the gate seems to be empty, not only here, but throughout the entire world. He made a serious blunder. In Canada, one man came out of the gate. He asked who is their king, and the hunter said it's him. He knows that the Shadow Monarch is not here. Sang Jin Woo called Adam, but it looks like it's too late. He summoned Task to teleport him, but their leader won't allow that. The leader sent his army the furthest away from him, since he knows Sang Jin Woo will win the longer the war lasts. The Monarch of Destruction is basking in the moment. He ordered everyone to destroy everything. In the USA, he met with the chairman to retrieve the runestone that's bestowed by the rulers. Without wasting time, he also went to visit Madame Selner, as to see the future of this world. She started crying as she held his hand. He intends to sacrifice himself. Looking at the sunset, he calls Chai Hai in. She wants him to promise that he'll come see her. Every single hunter in the world is preparing to go to Canada. The leader uses his power to communicate with Sang Jin Woo. He tells him how long does he plan on hiding. Hundreds of missiles went at him, but all their efforts are in vain. Back to Sang Jin Woo, Belian asks if he wants to contact his family, but he can't in order to move forward. The entire city is in ruins. Monsters are roaming around the place, where blood decorated the floor. As the soldier is about to get eaten, Hunter Sang Jin Woo has arrived. He killed the monsters in front of him. The Monarch of Destruction sensed him. The other monarchs are puzzled, as he's the only one there. What's he planning? As the battle goes on, tens of thousands of new Shadow Warriors have been added to the Shadow Army. They overwhelm the battlefield. A giant swings his weapon but got decimated instantly. They're slowly approaching the Monarch of Destruction. Dragons fill the sky, while the Shadow Warriors attacks them. A blast of fire came down from the sky. A servant of the Dragon Monarch has arrived, but Sang Jin Woo quickly assassinates it. He knows that Sang Jin Woo is getting stronger. He told the Monarch of Transfiguration to prepare a surprise attack. The Iron Body Monarch finally makes his move. Hiding in the shadows, the Shadow Warriors have arrived. They were ambushed, but he can't contact him. He's enraged that he taught them human tactics. He transforms into a gigantic monster. Sang Jin Woo meets the Monarch of Destruction. Instantly, he charges up a spell that changes the landscape of a city. Everything is burned to ashes. Suddenly, Sang Jin Woo appears from above. Hundreds of Shadow Warriors burst out from the gate. Liu Zigang notices two dense aura colliding. With one swing of his arm, it caused a nuclear explosion. He asks if he underestimated him, but he realizes that he's trying to run away. He can't let him go. As he entered the portal, all the Shadow Warriors are waiting for him. He thinks it's not a bad strategy to defeat the Monarch first. However, his plan won't matter as the Transfiguration Monarch summons portals that carries the elite monsters. Smiling, he cancels his summon. Why did he do that? He pities him as he seems to give up. Sang Jin Woo's body started to change. The Monarch can't believe what he's doing. He finally used the runestone. The magnificent roar echoed throughout the sky. The dragons can't move. Then teleports the Monarch far away. He brought him to a place that's the opposite side of the world. He applauded him for his strategy. He asked if that's his castle, which he embarrassingly says yes. The final battle has started. The other hunters have taken care of the majority of the monsters. Lady Selner looks at the sky with a hint of hope in her eyes. The Monarch of Destruction charged up a dimension-cracking spell towards Sang Jin Woo. However, Belian prevents him from shooting. The other warriors are doing their job. Tusk, Igris, Beru are all surpassing their limits. With the swing of the sword, the dragon is paralyzed. However, he's not done yet. It's coming. All the summons will die at this rate, so he cancels them. The Monarch already charged up the blast, wiping the atmosphere with intense magical energy. He's the embodiment of destruction, the King of Dragons, and the Monarch of Destruction. He transformed back into his human form because he wants to offer something. Seeing his performance, he wants a trade. He will depart from Earth if he joins him in destroying the rulers. But Sang Jin Woo refuses. With this, the battle continues. His arm turns gigantic as he grabs for Sang Jin Woo. In the nick of time, he rode on Kaisel. He went towards the dragon and leaps down while unleashing a series of attacks. However, it deemed to be useless. useless. When retreating, he's stopped by the dragon's roar. Kaisel falls to the ground as another wave of intense magic rains down. On the dragon's body, Sang Jin Woo stabs his dagger and summons his warriors. The shadow warriors bite him down while others breathe fire. He's stressed out as everything didn't affect him. Then it clicked. The monarch sees him transforming into pure darkness. He managed to astralize. He became large with his new form. This is the true form of the Shadow Monarch. The Monarch of Destruction came to the conclusion that he manages to achieve this since he's always been fighting, crossing the line of death many times. He's dead set on killing him. Sang Jin Woo is too dangerous. With the raise of a hand, he counterattacks. The battlefield became silent. In a flash, they clashed. The monarch strikes from above, but he catches it and strikes back. In retaliation, he bites his body and tossed him into the air. Sang Jin Woo falls to the ground. He avoids the fire blast in the nick of time and runs straight at him as another blast is produced. He slices the dragon but got whipped by his tail. The Destruction Monarch flew to the sky, where he summons multiple projectiles. Rays of fire rains from the sky. Suddenly, a spear caught his wing. Deer attacks clash in the air, producing shockwaves that move the ground. As the smoke clears out, Sang Jin Woo took massive damage. He asks again once more, join him. However, he still refuses. In their human forms, they continue their battle. He says that Sang Jin Woo won't be able to protect his loved ones. All his efforts are useless. His body got pierced by his sword. Sang Jin Woo retreats back. He cannot afford to die just yet. From behind, the dagger went towards his back, but it can't pierce him. He finds their battle comical regarding their identities. The battle is nearing its end. Sang Jin Woo dashes towards him. The Destruction Monarch is prepared to swing his blade. But that's when all of his Shadow Warriors emerge. The Shadow Monarch screams in anger. As Sang Jin Woo, the National Rank Hunter, the hero, the Shadow Monarch, the E-Rank Hunter, ended his reign of terror. He has one question. How is the ruler's army here? All this time, Sang Jin Woo communicated with the rulers through their vessels to summon a gate specifically at this place. He admits defeat. Sang Jin Woo told him that he got betrayed by the Monarch of White Flames while telling him to fuck off. He's beyond infuriated, but there's nothing he could do. The brightest fragment of luminosity has arrived. The battle ended. Sang Jin Woo has a request. He wants to use the Cup of Reincarnation. Reconfirming his statement, does he want to turn back time? He said yes. He wants to take care of the monarchs by himself in a dimensional gap, since the world has taken a lot of damage. The ruler wants to confirm again, since his friends, family, and lover won't remember anything. Nobody will congratulate him if he wins, and nobody will remember him if he dies. Yet, he still wants to do it. With a smile on his face, the ruler answers his request.
From the open shore I will learn to fly, soaring past the great divide.
Back at home, a younger Jin-ah calls for her brother. He remembers this nostalgic scenery. He sees his father again. Tears runs down his face. He wants to enjoy his life for the time being before the event begins again. As his mother walks into his room, she notices a note on the table. In the dungeon, Shadow Warriors are slaughtering the monsters. In this new life, he killed the Transfiguration Monarch, who's the core of the problem. It's been 27 years since the dimensional crack. The only enemies that remain are the Dragon Legion. He wonders how his family is doing. The Destruction Monarch sees highly of Sang Jin Woo by turning back time. Finally, their battle can continue from before. The war repeats itself. On Earth, time moves slower compared to the dimensional gap. Following the same event that happened in another timeline, a huge gate appeared in the sky. But no enemy seems to come out. Sang Jin Woo meets the envoy of the rulers. He disguises himself as a kid. The envoy thanks Sang Jin Woo on behalf of all the rulers. But he explains that his existence is a problem since Earth doesn't have hunters. This infuriated him, but the envoy says that he only brought this up due to Lady Selner saying that the god of death will step foot on Earth. Sang Jin Woo's mission is finally complete. Trying to find a new reason to life, a familiar person passes by. We see a glimpse of the world. Everyone is living their lives normally. He finally has a new reason to live on Earth. The manhwa finishes at chapter 179, but I'm gonna talk about the side story now. It tells about his personal life after the war. In class, Sang Jin Woo is minding his own business, but that's when the bullies insulted him for wearing a glove. He shows the scar that he got from battling the Monarch of Destruction. He wants to join the track and field club since he's able to meet Chahai in. The teacher can't believe what he's seeing, to which Beru scares him. Soon, cases of shadow ends came to light. The chairman from the previous life is now a detective. He wants to interrogate with Sang Jin Woo after witnessing the shadows with his own eyes. After giving a playful answer, he leaves the school. Later, as Sang Jin Woo and his friends went for dinner, the detective calls for him again. He calls him as Hunter Sang Jin Woo. He remembers the past when Sang Jin Woo implanted his own memories to him. He's glad that he's living a normal life now. The envoy then told him about more monsters coming to Earth due to changing the course of history. With that, he prepares for battle. As the Titans arrived, Sang Jin Woo already prepares his army with millions of shadow warriors. In the end, win, he emerged victorious, but is now on the eyes of the US government. Back at school, he notices a familiar face. Behind the building, the guy tries to provoke Jin Woo, but his warriors are happy to see him again. He starts to cry for no reason. Is this love? In the stadium, he finally reunites with Chai Hai-in. He noticed that her feet is injured, to which he heals it. As more time passes by, their relationship got better. During Christmas, he prepares to meet her again. She wants an answer if they've met before the competition day back then. As she happily ran to the Christmas tree, past memories of her begin resurfacing. He asks his shadows to close their eyes, as he finally realizes his emotion towards her. In the world of rest, the Shadow Warriors are happily enjoying their lives. They can see the events that happen on Earth. Igris still remembers the time when he met Jin Woo. Despite being weaker than him, his fighting spirit led him to victory. Right now, he's helping with his revision. Jin Woo then meets Jin-ho again. While walking around the hospital, he crosses paths with Miss Joo-hee. She asks if they've met before, but he says no. Jin Woo came to give the chairman in the previous timeline a healing potion. After drinking, he suddenly felt better. As years go by, Jin Woo works as a detective. He overheard someone talking about a suicidal case. He wants to take over that case. Arriving at their home, he investigates a stain of blood near the drain, which allowed him to use shadow extraction on the victim. She told him that she took her own life, but it's due to his abusive father. Later, she gets revenge as she kills him in the shadow world. Jin Woo gave a present to her mother. That's from her daughter, as closure to the case. Jin-ho wants Jin Woo's advice on confessing to Jinna, his sister. He simply told Jin-ho to be himself. As he arrives home, he's greeted by his child and wife. Jin Woo asks what the Shadow Warriors are doing, but it's hard to explain. Both of them are debating on the future of the child. Back in the hospital, he transfers his previous memories of him being a chairman before passing away. As autumn falls, he received a phone call from his wife. She stated that her child started flying, which surprised him. The household suddenly became more hectic than before. In the other world, the noble demons are building a statue of their liege. But how did he get here? This resulted in his mother to worry for him as he inherited the monarch's power. Hence, until the time is right, he sealed his memories and powers. Forward into the future, their son, Sang-ho, came to save his friend from the bullies. In the classroom, a gate suddenly opens up. He thought to himself, what would Dad do? Without hesitation, he enters the gate. Notifications start popping out. A new player is born. As he moves up the floors, he beats Igris, climbs the demon castle, meets Esil, which makes her feel deja vu. He beats Beru, finds trouble in defeating the Grand Marshal, and finally battles with his father, which he lost in the end. He's woken up in his classroom. Looking through the windows, Jin Woo thinks now is not the right time to return his powers. But then, a large gate opens up. Sang-ho looks above, feeling some type of presence in the air. Both Jin Woo and Chai Hai-in flew in the sky. It's a nostalgic sight for her. As Jin Woo gives a present for their anniversary, he told her to go back as he has to protect the world once again. In this timeline, the Monarch of Destruction got transported into Jin Woo's body, taking control of his entire body. He receives a phone call. He's late to the dungeon raid. This enrages him as a mere mortal dares to speak like this to the ruler of dragons. He uses his power to detect the location of the rude woman speaking through the phone. In the phone call, he says he found her, which puzzled her. He suddenly appeared from behind. She quickly retracts her statement from before. He grabs the coffee without paying and feels great that he took from the weak. Miss Joo-hee is worried for him, but he thinks if all humans are this noisy. In the dungeon, he mercilessly killed all the monsters without breaking a sweat. As they head into the dungeon, a giant door appears before them. Upon opening the door, he uses one of them as bait. Looks like it's safe to go inside. Jin Woo points out the scriptures inscribed on the tablet. Miss Joo-hee grabs his shoulder as she points to one of the statues, but he doesn't like getting touched. After reading the scriptures, the big statue suddenly shoots out laser beams. Jin Woo laughs as he blocks the beam, saving everyone. Then using the breath of destruction, he destroys the statue while laughing manically. The other statues could not believe what they're witnessing. Soon, an all-out battle occurred, where the rest of the hunters retreat to safety. Jin Woo stands there unfazed. The architect loses his temper as everything he sets up got destroyed. He told the statue to shut up and killed it in one shot. He demanded the true culprit to show up. The Shadow Monarch greeted the Monarch of Destruction. It's time to end this once and for all. He leaps towards the giant statue. Then, Jin Woo awakens from his long dream.